Talladega Superspeedway, 2 2/3 miles around. Perspective, the running track around a football field is 1/4 of a mile. It's a big place where the action and drama are always intense, and we're getting ready for a big race in just a few moments. For some of the big stories about today, we go to pit road and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Talladega Superspeedway always attracts a star-studded field, Alan, and of course today is no exception. Included among the 43 starters are 8 former NASCAR Nationwide Series champions. And how about 6 former Daytona 500 winners, including the last 2, 2009 winner Jamie McMurray. And how about the Cinderella story this year, 20-year-old Trevor Bayne. And if that's not enough, stir in a 3-time IndyCar champion and Indy 500 winner Sam Hornish Jr. And for the first and only time this year, we have a reunion. Dale Earnhardt Jr. reunited with Tony Eury Jr., his cousin and crew chief. Last time they were together, it was a magical night in Daytona last July when Jr. drove that Wrangler number 3 to an emotional victory lane. So many stars, so many stories. This one here today has it all. Jamie.
Well, when it comes to racing at Talladega, especially with the 2-car tandem, drivers are relying on their spotters upstairs and their radios more than ever. Now, we're standing at Elliott Sadler's car. He, of course, is the pole sitter. Normally, he'll just talk to his crew chief and his spotter. Not today. You take a look in here. He has this switch. He can talk to his 2 teammates or the one of Jamie McMurray. All he has to do is flip the switch. Now, if he gets separated from them, these are drivers he can talk to on a backup. Talking to them is as easy as hitting a switch. Let's go to Alan Bestwick.
Jamie, thanks. How's the party line communication going to lead to a post-race victory party today? We'll find out. First, though, time for the opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the United States Navy Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Remain standing as Alan Singley from the Alabama Raceway Ministries offers today's invocation.
God, we thank you so much for this great event that you've allowed us to be a part of. And Father, we thank you for the men and women in uniform who are laying their life on the line so that we can enjoy these freedoms. God, we pray for the safety of all those involved today. And God, more than anything, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, and his sacrifice that we can enjoy life eternal and abundant. And it's his name, the greatest name, the name that is above every name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem from Snellville, Georgia, please welcome country music singer Jamie Butler.
Oh, sing, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So now the tension begins to build as these drivers buckle in, fasten the safety equipment, and get ready to go racing at Talladega. What will the big headline be after the checkered flag? The engines fire next.
Aaron's 312 at Talladega is brought to you by Aaron's. Nobody beats Aaron's. Nobody. And Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at codespotter.com for a chance to win one-of-a-kind NASCAR VIP experiences.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to Talladega Superspeedway, where you're about to watch the running of the 10th straight Aaron's 312. That stands for 3 reasons to get your product. You can get the guaranteed lowest price, you're pre-approved, and you can own it in as little as 12 months. The Aaron's 312. You know what? Credit's hard, Aaron's is easy, and that's what we're all about here today. So from our best drivers, top drivers in our company, to your favorite drivers, enjoy the race.
And ESPN's exclusive coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series today brings you the Aaron's 312 from Talladega, the world's fastest speedway. 2 2/3 miles of high-banked, high-speed, high-drama racing. Just a moment or so away from the command to fire him up. We saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. a bit ago. Where you see Jr. today, you'll likely see Eric Almirola's 88 car.
We expect a lot of Eric Almirola and this junior motorsports team. It's time for these guys to get up front, lead some laps, and possibly win a race.
Jason Leffler, Chad Knaus mentioned the Turner Motorsports drivers a bit ago. Jason had the only spin in the practice sessions Thursday. No contact, no damage. Thinks he has a very good car for today and starts in the 9th position in that 38 machine. How about Michael Waltrip?
Hey, a lot of people have forgotten Michael's in this race. I mean, obviously starting back in 24th, but this guy has a lot of wins in the Cup Series as well as the Nationwide Series at restrictor plates races. He will be a threat by the end of the day. The guy's excellent when it comes to seeing that air.
And every time in these Talladega races, somebody sneaks in and has that top 5 finish, and you say, oh, where'd he come from? Well, Joe Nemechek is a 2-time winner at this racetrack, one of only 2 multiple winners in this race. Joe's been racing underfunded in recent times, but don't be surprised if Front Row Joe sneaks in and is that guy with that great finish at day's end.
Would not surprise me at all if I looked up at the end of the day and see Joe Nemechek in the top 5. He's led over 197 laps in this series at this racetrack, which is most of all time.
Now, we've talked about the teams and the cars literally leaning on each other as they go throughout the day. More than one way to adapt to things.
Put a little Pam on there to make that thing nice and smooth and slick through the transition so they don't get hooked up and snag one another when they're trying to get off of each other when they're trying to pass.
The big moment coming up shortly when the engines fire. Kind of the theme of the day. Something big is about to happen. Big nerves for these drivers right now.
Yeah, they're very, very nervous, Al. Like I say, this is the one race along with Daytona that you go to that you just do not know what is going to happen or transpire over the next couple of hours. So a lot of anticipation, a lot of anxiety. Young guys trying to figure it out. Old guys think they've got it figured out, but they've all got to put it together.
Big opportunity for some young drivers, including our in-race reporter, Trevor Bain, to try and score a win at Talladega Superspeedway. Before they can score that win, we've got to get the engines fired up.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command to start engines, please welcome representatives of the Wounded Warrior Project. From the United States Army, Specialist Andrew Coughlin, First Lieutenant Joseph Calley, Staff Sergeant Scott Adams, Sergeant Daniel Smith with Service Dog Jefferson Davis, Operations Iraqi Freedom Veteran Brent Whitten, and from the United States Air Force, Tech Sergeant Wayne T. Markham.
Drivers, start your engines!
Bravo to all those members of our armed forces getting the engine started up for this race. Bravo also to all the public safety officials around Alabama who worked so hard to keep these race fans at this racetrack safe last night through some terrible storms that came through here. Our thoughts with those who suffered damage or losses in that. So we get ready to start the race. There'll be 2 by 2 by 2 on the racetrack. There'll be 3 wide up in the broadcast booth all afternoon long. Former Talladega winners Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie with the man who'll call the winner of this race, Marty Reed. Gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Alan. Hello again, everybody. And as we have talked about throughout the day on Countdown, the two-car draft. There's really two ways of doing it, and both have a little risk and reward.
Yeah, this thing is really developing over time since they've discovered how to do this. And the best way to do it, the fastest way to do it, is to really line the cars up as tightly as you can without any offset. But you can only run a few laps like that, a certain amount of laps, before you have to switch because the car behind gets hot. Now, they started to perfect that enough now where they can get offset a little bit, cost them just a little bit of speed, but they don't have to switch near as often. And when they switch, they lose a ton of time. I'm talking about like 4 or 5 seconds a lap while they're making that switch. So this could actually be what we're seeing as these cars start drafting together.
Yeah, and we got a combination here of young guys and veterans, but there's a number of veterans that are running this race, so they can get a little more accustomed to this. Guys that are going to be in the Cup race tomorrow, they're still trying to figure this out too. So it's going to be interesting to watch as they go through these 117 laps. Who gets it done the best and who can have that shot at winning?
Well, if you were with us earlier in Countdown, you saw the graphic about there are 19 drivers with 2 starts or fewer in this field. Is this a disaster waiting to happen?
No, it could be, but I don't think so. I think these young guys have really kind of embraced this new type of drafting. They like it a little bit better than what some of the veterans do because they were used to another type of racing. So I think that gives them an opportunity. Some of them have very fast race cars. They're going to find a drafting partner. Could be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I think that graphic alone, that we showed earlier, shows just how wide open this kind of race is. You come here, there's really never a favorite, so we don't know who's going to win this thing. I mean, anybody, if you're in the race, you can win it.
All right. Well, you always think about the fact that, Carl and Kyle, they seem to always be up front. Well, that may not be the case here. Look at this. Between the two of them, they've never won. This is the worst track for them.
Yeah, and if you think about these two guys' style, it's wide open all the time, and sometimes you have to show some patience to get yourself in the right position here. You have to come out of the throttle just a little bit to get yourself positioned correctly.
All right, let's get ready as the cars are rolling out. Our in-race reporters, you heard Alan mention just a few moments ago, it is the driver of the number 16 for Roush Fenway Racing, Trevor Bayne, and he'll be starting in the number 5 spot. And of course, if we go back to, just a few months ago at Daytona International Speedway, at the age of 20, he wins the biggest race in NASCAR. Back here at Talladega Superspeedway, as you see the cars out on the track, here's the starting field for the Aaron's 312 across the top of the screen. 3 cars are going to the rear. Scott Wimmer for adjustments. The 70 of Dennis Setzer, he has unapproved adjustments, and he missed the driver's meeting. Tim Andrews also missed the driver's meeting. Those 3 going to the back. Let's talk to our in-race reporter, DJ. It's Trevor Bayne.
Hey, Trevor, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Trevor, our first question comes from our mailbag, and James in Milford, Connecticut asked, I know at Daytona some drivers wanted to communicate with as many as 15 drivers on the track. How many drivers are you set to communicate with here at Talladega?
Well, here in my Nationwide car, I've got 8 different radio channels. 2 of them are ours, and then after that, we've got the 6, 16, 22, 7, 20, and 18 on our radio channel. But that doesn't limit who you can work with. Really, here at Daytona, you could end up working with anybody, or at Talladega, you could end up working with anybody just like at Daytona. So I've got my options open, and normally fast cars find friends. That's been a popular saying ever since the 2-car draft has started happening. So, we're just looking to see who we can be fast with.
All right, speaking of Daytona, and I know you like to talk about Daytona a lot, we just showed the video of you winning that race. You were out front on that last lap. Here at Talladega, do you have a position in mind as to where you want to be when you're coming to the checkered flag?
At Daytona, I'd kind of plan on being the 2nd car, pushing somebody and making that last lap pass. And that's still kind of my game plan here. Just, survive to the end. And if we do that, then we'll have a chance to win it. But the first step is just making it to the end and being careful. With this 2-car style drafting, you can really take your time because you can make up a lot of ground fast. So that's our plan. Maybe if we get with a 60 here at the beginning, we'll just take our time and work our way to the front.
All right, Trevor, thanks for talking with us. You have a great day. And now Andy's going to talk to a guy, your spotter, that could help you get there today, Joel Edmonds.
All right.
Hey, Joel, Andy Peter in the booth. You have us?
Yes, sir. I got you, Andy.
Hey, Joel, how has this new style of restrictor plate racing changed your job up on the roof?
Well, before when we went, pushing guys around the track or being pushed, it was just, you're just watching out, watching for the gang. But now, the guy in the back that's doing the pushing is really handicapped because he can't see. So, you're working with different guys and trying to give them all the information you can because the guy can't see, and the front guy, he can see everything. So approach it a lot different. The cars, when they get broke apart, are some 18 miles an hour slower than the cars in front of them. So, if a pack gets broke apart in front of us, we're going to catch them really fast. And it's the same way if we're broken apart, we got guys catching us from the back. But our goal is to give these guys all the information we can and get these cars to the finish and these boys home safe. And I got a pretty good chauffeur right here, so we're going to try to end up like you did at Daytona.
Okay, Joel, thanks for talking to us. I always wondered how you could use those binoculars and talk to your driver at the same time. You just showed us how to do that. Keep him safe out there.
Thanks, guys.
Let's check in on the rest of our onboard cameras because we've got plenty of them for you. 8 of them with Jamie McMurray, Kevin Harvick, Dale Earnhardt Jr. You already know about Trevor carrying one. Clint Boyer, Stephen Wallace, Michael Waltrip, and Kenny Wallace. Our over-the-wall reporter is Rick Yeomans. He is the rear tire changer on the 01 for Mike Wallace. There he is. Rick, you guys be safe down there today. Good luck. Let's check in finally on pit road, get the final updates. First up, Dave Burns.
Well, Marty, the front bumpers on these Nationwide cars are very curved, more so than their Sprint Cup counterparts. That makes the two-car draft here very difficult for these Nationwide drivers. So to give you some idea, an illustration was given to me by Joe Balish, series director of the Nationwide Series. The Cup cars actually have two very flat surfaces, not unlike these ping-pong paddles, to get together. And so when you look at it, they have lots of surface area and easy to stick together. What does he use for an analogy of the Nationwide bumpers? 2 of these. Imagine trying to keep this partnership working all day long at 190 miles per hour, Vince Welch.
Well, Dave, hooking up with a drafting partner isn't exclusive to the racetrack. Drafting partners will be hitting pit road together as well, so immediately they can resume their drafting position once they take care of their service here on pit lane and exit pit road. But keep in mind, if you have a problem on pit lane or you get a speeding violation, you're not the only one that's going to suffer. Your drafting partner suffers too. Something to keep in mind. Big today, Marty.
You're absolutely right. In fact, let's talk a little bit more about pit road, Andy.
Yeah, pit road here, you're trying to make a good, clean pit stop. You're not really trying to go out there and make time and try to make up time on pit road because you're going to be pitting with a partner. You want to really coordinate those pit stops so you're getting the same, 2 tires or whatever it is in gas and getting off of pit road together. So by the time you get right here to the pit exit, that you're back together and actually pushing each other and linked up.
Well, let's take a look at our Goodyear track facts because obviously this is the longest oval that we race on in the NASCAR series, and the banking is at 33 degrees. And what else jumps out at you, DJ?
Well, I think you talk about how long it is, though. These guys are going to try to make it the shortest way around a lot of times. In those 117 laps, these first 116 are going to be about posturing yourself and getting yourself in position to see what you can do on that last lap. Go to victory lane when that one's over.
Let's check in on last-minute communication between Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and his team.
How about your tape on your windshield? Is that okay? How we got that?
Yes, sir. Everything's good.
How about your shoes? Are they tight?
10-4. Got fireproof underwear on and everything else. We're checked.
Beautiful.
I got my helmet on. We're good.
Good. I was going to ask about that next.
Great stuff. All right, front row. You'll notice pole sitter Elliott Sadler has selected the outside. It's the first time that KHI has qualified 1-2 in a front row sweep for their nationwide career. And so as we get ready to come down, pace car turns off into pit in. Here they come through the trioval. Remember, the start-finish line is a little bit further down than any other of these high-bank super speedways. 16 different winners in 19 nationwide races, and here we are at Talladega. And this race, the Aaron's 312 is green. Coming down the backstretch, 3 wide, about 6 cars back, and already we're seeing the 2-car pairings. They make it through turns 3 and 4 already.
Yeah, the pole sitter, Elliott Sadler and Jamie McMurray, who started right behind him, they became unattached there in 1 and 2. Elliott actually had to back up to get him back on his bumper, and they've lost a lot of spots.
And as they come down through the trioval,
here they come.
Yep, they're going to charge on the outside. Who's going to lead officially? Hopefully at the stripe it will be the 33 of Clint Boyer with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, Trevor Bayne.
And you can see Michael Annette, he was going back. He started about 8 spots in front of his teammate, Stephen Wallace. They're getting hooked back up now.
Here comes Trevor and Carl going on the high side. Could be a lead change, and here we go. Remember how many we had at Daytona.
I tell you, I don't know that anybody pushes better than Trevor Bayne.
Saw Jack Roush yesterday. I said, are you even better than you were at Daytona? He says, actually, we have found more horsepower in the FR9, and we did find a little better cooling. Coming through 3 and 4. On the inside, here comes that duo underneath. And you can see it's the 88 of Eric Almirola with the 4 of Kevin Harvick. And they'll lead this time at the stripe. So we're starting off just like we did at Daytona. 2 laps, 2 different lead changes.
That last lap, 48.63. That's about 5 seconds faster than they qualified.
Shows you the difference. It's amazing, isn't it, when you think about it?
It's unbelievable how much faster these cars go in this configuration.
You can see everybody just getting teamed up and paired up. This is what you have to do now. You can make this go a little bit faster if you're catching a group of cars. We see right here, Clint Boyer is pulled out. Now he's getting a pull from those 2 cars up in front of him, plus the push that he's getting from Dale Jr.
Coming down this time, it looks like it's going to be another one with Carl Edwards, Trevor Bayne. They come through the tri-oval. They've opened up about 5-6 car lengths. So it's Edwards, Bayne, Boyer, Earnhardt.
Yeah, you were talking about how good Trevor Bayne is at doing this. He's also so good at keeping his car cool enough that he can stay there for a longer period of time than what a lot of these other drivers are able to.
That's what we talked about at the Open. You can see he's just offsetting his car just enough to get a little bit of air without upsetting the car that's leading, in this case, Carl Edwards.
I tell you that Morgan Shepherd is a lap down right now. He came in for an unscheduled stop. He's back out. Jeff Green has become our first starting park of the day.
Junior pushes Boyer to the lead.
Here comes McMurray and Elliott Sadler. They had dropped back outside of the top 10. Now they've made their way back to this front grid.
On board with Jamie McMurray right now as they head for the tri-oval. At Daytona, we had 5 different leaders in the first 5 laps. Here we go again. Boyer's up front. 4 lead changes already in 4 laps.
At 7 and 33, let's switch partners so we can communicate better.
Now, they're talking about switching partners. That could set you back.
Yeah, it's going to cost some time if they switch partners. Right now, you just kind of stick with what you have because of the way these cars qualified. It kind of worked out this way, and it's working good. I don't believe I'd mess with it right now. I'd wait till they get shuffled out.
Well, the interesting thing, DJ, they're talking about communication. They can't talk to those guys.
Yeah, and I don't like that idea anyway, but they're trying to make it all work. We see Rusty Wallace's cars coming here. Michael Annette, Stephen Wallace have caught this front group also.
But now you see them get separated, and you can see just how much that kills the speed.
See, that's Annette. He's in front right there. He has to make sure that he keeps that car attached to him. He may be getting a pull up there, but he can't use all of that. He needs to stay. Now they're switching.
Eric Almirola credited with the lead this time by. Talked to those 2 earlier, and they said Rusty gave them strict orders. Even if one of them has to back up,
hey, Trevor,
they got to be together.
Let's get you a point, okay? All right, that'll work. You guys are clear by 5 out back. They're hooked back together, though.
Now, one thing we see right there for just a second, there were 4 cars in that draft. Jack Canals alluded to that a little bit, that he thought we might see some of that in the Cup race tomorrow.
Right now, Carl, 265, 260, something like that. So here in a few more laps, if they don't start switching, then we'll switch it up and then go back at them.
So you're saying it's 265 degrees on that water temperature, and they feel pretty good about that. They run a really high-pressure system so the water won't boil out. As long as they keep the water in the system, it'll continue to cool the engine.
Well, you saw where Almirola and Dale Jr. were able to finally hook up, but it's cost them quite a few spots. They're further back. Right now, it's Edwards, Bayne, Harvick, Boyer.
Oh,
that's their top 4. Whoa.
Looked like Almirola.
I believe it was Almirola.
Going down the backstretch, we'll find and see if exactly who it was, because a lot of smoke, but we couldn't tell for sure exactly which car it was that dusted the wall.
Carl was asking if they had a big lead, they could get Trevor a bonus point there for leading a lap. But a big lead, you start switching, it goes away in a hurry.
Yeah, they're going to have to probably switch up here and then get another big momentum push to get Trevor to the lead.
Got confirmation it was the 6 car, Ricky Stenhouse. No serious damage, though. He's still motoring. 7 lead changes in 7 laps. Kevin Harvick now listed up front. Let's go back. Here it is, top of your left of your screen.
Yeah, it is Stenhouse.
Just a little. Now, you notice also the 66 sort of got split away from his teammate Michael Annett. Whoa, that's what happened to Jason Leffler a couple days ago in practice.
That's one of the dangers, and we heard Dave Burns talking about that these bumpers don't line up very well. It just takes getting off center just a little bit. They've only got about a 15-inch radius there that they can work on, and then it starts upsetting the car. So it's very touchy, and you have to be careful.
And you notice that Annett fell back to pick up Wallace. They're running 17th and 18th right now on the track. Dave, give us an update on Kevin Harvick, our race leader.
Well, you know, I want to talk about as they start to go 3 wide in pairs here. They'll keep it back down to 2. Harvick working with Boyer right now. He wasn't exactly pleased when he qualified outside the top 10, and his other 2 cars qualified on the front row for today's race. But remember back at Daytona with this very same car, Tony Stewart started outside the top 10, won the race, and he was leading by lap 3. I think Harvick led lap 7, so all's good with the boss.
All right, Dave. One other car is now behind the wall. Carl Long has joined Jeff Green. Got some slower traffic, and you can see the difference. When you're stranded out there by yourself, look at how fast they blow by.
See if you can leave this one, okay?
That's Carl trying to get the 16 to come around. They're making the swap. Watch how it costs him.
Yeah, and he got his points lead right there, Jamie.
Yeah, you guys, I talked to Chris Andrews, the crew chief for Trevor Bayne yesterday. He said they have worked at Roush Fenway so diligently over the last year to get these cars where they don't heat up, as Andrew Petrie was saying. So we went about 10 laps there, pushing Carl Edwards. They also worked on doing this swap and doing it in about a second. That was textbook right there for Trevor Bayne and Carl Edwards.
And the timing was really slick because you're right, DJ. He did cross the line with the lead, so Trevor does get the extra bonus point. But you notice how far they fell back. There are now 6 cars in front of them.
Yeah, everybody may get a bonus point before this day's over with.
All right, right now we've had 8 lead changes in 9 laps. There it is at the Aaron's 312 with Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer right up front with Sam Hornish Jr. moving into the mix. Back here at the Aaron's 312 after, now 14 of 117 laps. While we were gone, believe it or not, another lead change. Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski, I know that pair sounds strange, but they actually pushed Busch to the lead. They had to make the switch. They've dropped back. McMurray is now taking over the spot. Now, talk about how you have to get that dance parser. Here's what happened.
Yeah, become unattached there for just a little bit. You just have to literally get out of the throttle, drag the brake, whatever you have to do to get hooked up. Now, it doesn't take long once you get hooked up. Look coming now.
That's when he pushed him to the lead. Now when they make the switch, watch everybody go by, and this got a little dicey.
A little bit close right here, and this shows where experience really what factored in. Jamie McMurray and Elliott Sadler were coming at a higher rate of speed on Harvick and Boyer there. Were able to make that pass safely, though.
See the 12 of Sam Hornish Jr. and the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse. They have formed up a nice little partnership right now.
Yeah, that's kind of an odd pairing. You got a Dodge and a Ford working together, but it's working really well for them.
Well, they've got to remember, Roush Fenway has just the 3 cars, so they got to find somebody. Here comes a swap there. Let's get an update on that 6. How about it, Dave?
Marty, this is the first switch of the day for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He was back there a long time. In fact, that time he got into the wall, he may have been trying to breathe it just a little bit. That's what he told Hornish. I got to get outside a little bit, so stay off the wall just a little bit. But that's their very first switch. He was told at the start of the race, hey, keep pushing till you get to Birmingham. But lately, his temperatures have gone up to 240 and 300, so they had to make that switch.
Well, we've just completed 15 laps. The record for most lead changes in series history is 36, back here in April of 07. The first lead change in that race, lap 15. We have 12 changes already in 15 laps.
It looks to me like that pairing of Keselowski and Busch are the fastest 2 cars that we see, but they can't do it for as long. They have to make that switch, and it's cost some time. Vince?
Well, one of the problems, guys, just a few moments ago, they made the switch because Kyle Busch was in front and Keselowski was pushing. Kyle did not like at all the way in which they made that switch, said it's got to be a lot smoother, and those two are not able to communicate back and forth, the 22 and the 18 together. They are not on one another's radios, so that's made things a bit difficult too. Kyle Busch ultimately would like to partner up with Joey Logano as he did at Daytona with great success, but so far it hasn't worked out. By the way, earlier in the weekend, when the media compared finding a drafting partner to getting a prom date, Kyle Busch responded that, well, he never went to prom, so he wouldn't know. And certainly when you look at Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski, that certainly would be an odd pairing.
And I don't think wife Samantha would let him go back to the prom now without her. So he's got a dance partner right now, though.
Yeah, he understands how to get to the front. That's the most important thing, so he's not going to have a problem in finding a good partner to push and carry him away all day. You see all those cars coming down through, and there is Junior Motorsports with Eric Almirola right behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's listen in.
Let's check up right here. They're going everywhere. Let's check up. Fine with that, Eric. Anytime you want to, just let me know. Yeah, there just wasn't nowhere to go. They were 3 wide. Yeah, just say check it up. We'll do it. No problem. 10-4. How's your water? 230.
So the information traded between those two drivers, and Dale Jr. has made no secret about it. He is not a big fan of this type of racing. But so far, so good.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons he's in this race, besides the sponsorship deal that he has. But he wanted to get a little bit more comfortable with this. You know, he's been a great drafter all these years, won a lot of races at Daytona and Talladega. But this is a new style, and he wanted to get more comfortable with it.
While this continues, 4 cars are now officially out of the race. Harmon, Andrews, Long, and Jeff Green. Well, was that just a few laps ago when Elliott Sadler looked like they were going to pull away from the pack? Look where they are now.
Yeah,
Robert Richardson's really in the pickle.
Yeah, they got a lot of lap traffic in the way. This is going to really shuffle the deck a little bit.
You got the 28 of Derek Cope right in that middle section, leading that midline. They're trying to, oh, this is going to be interesting, to say the least. It's cost Eric Almirola his dance partner. He lost Junior.
This right here looks more like what we're used to seeing here with the big pack.
Coming down for the completion of lap number 19, and who's going to lead it this time? Well, it looks like it's going to be Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Sam Hornish, then Harvick, Boyer, Earnhardt, Kyle Busch. That is your top 6. So we've knocked down 20 of the 117 laps here at the Aaron's 312, and we've had 14 lead changes already. Back here at the Aaron's 312, big problems for Kevin Harvick. On the radio, he's saying it's a motor. Dave Burns, what else are you hearing?
That's it, Marty. First, we thought it might have been just a tire down, but he radioed in. Yeah, it was weird from the start of the race, so we'll see if we can catch up with Kevin following this.
So a tough break for Kevin Harvick, as here our first caution comes out on lap number 23. Let's go back on board with Clint Boyer as this all happened.
Hey, see, he's pushing Harvick right here. And this engine lets go.
Still out there. Clear, clear.
Well, you see him waving. You see Kevin waving. He's got a problem.
Okay, they're going to catch you quick here, boys. Come on down a little bit, 4. Okay, get attached. Outside. Back up a bunch, Cliff. Back up a bunch.
And that was Clint Boyer's spotter. He was trying to get hooked back up with Harvick, not realizing that Harvick had an engine problem.
And so Harvick, who has never won here in the Nationwide Series, he's finished second back in the 06 event. He's going to nurse this one back to the garage area. And as we said, our first caution.
Yeah, this style of racing is going to be very hard on engines. I mean, it's kind of leaving this a very important part of this, controlling that water temperature up to the drivers on how they do that. And that's a lot of responsibility to put on them to be able to do that and to try to race the way they are.
That and the RPMs that they're turning, because they sustain those RPMs at a long time because of being able to run that fast and stay in the draft.
You saw there the Aaron's Lucky Dog goes to the 39 of Josh Wise. He'll get back on the lead lap. That'll give us 26 cars on the lead lap. we want to go back to the Craftsman Tech Garage because obviously tires are not the issue, but fueling could be. Let's get more from Tim Brewer.
Thanks, guys. What the problem is the refueling process. It's still a work in progress. As we're putting the fuel in, remember, the fuel's out of the tank. We're trying to recover that and exhaust the air out of it. Some of the guys you might see on a pit stop might actually come in, and to get a better angle, what they're going to do is elevate the left side of the car. They're going to jack it up, hoping that the fuel's going to flow into the tank a lot quicker. Guys?
All right, thanks, Tim. And you see everybody up on the wall. Yes, everybody will be coming. And here they go, making their way down.
Main thing here is to get it full.
Let's start with the number 1 of Jimmy McMurray. Vince, it's all yours.
Well, McMurray making his first nationwide start of the season. In fact, his last nationwide race was last September at Atlanta. He won that race. They're going to take on right side tires only with fuel. Doc?
And let's stack them 3 wide for you here. 33-6-2 Chevy, Ford Chevy. Top of your screen, Clint Boyer. 4 tires, clean the windshield, tear away. And let's check in with Dave.
And Doc, to do what Tim Brewer said, when you're only taking on 2 right side tires, you simply wait. At least you've got the right side down and you get the fuel flowing. Jamie?
And Elliott Sadler down and away, clean stop, right sides, 1 can of fuel. He is expressing concern over his motor after he saw what happened at Kevin Harvick as the cars continue to file off pit road.
Kyle Busch missed his pit. That's what that dash line means. As if he had stopped and not taken tires, it would have come up with a 0. So it's sort of a bogus signal there, and he's going to probably have to come back around and start all over. And we talked about how pit stops could be costly. Well, we've already had some big surprises here at the Aaron's 312 after just 25 of the 117 scheduled laps. Currently, our race leader is Elliott Sadler with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ricky Stenhouse, Sam Hornish Jr., and Jamie McMurray, your top 5. Should let you know, Jeremy Clements is still on pit road. In fact, it looks like they just got him refired. They were having trouble. He's back out on the track, so he'll pick back up. And Kyle Busch, remember, he missed his pit. He did come in. And he's going to restart about 25th. Dave, let's check in with you.
And, of course, Kevin out very early today. Is just checking with his crew there. What did they tell you? I understand you've been feeling something from the start of the race.
Yeah, something went right from the start of the race. Not going to make any predictions on what it was or what it was doing. It was just missing a little bit every once in a while. So I have a good idea what it is, but I'll wait until they tell me. But just hate it for everybody from Armour, and my Speedway stuff's not going too good. Daytona, we were out on lap 24, and we're out on about lap 24 here, so that's kind of eerie. So hopefully that's all out of the way and we can have a good day tomorrow.
Part of the practice here for the weekend and getting ready for Sunday's race is learning how to do that 2-car drafting. What was that like for you?
We didn't have any problem with that. We drove right to the front with the 88 and then made I guess what would be considered a clean swap there, a fair swap where nobody was mad, teammate for teammate. And we're able to maintain ourselves up in the front. And I felt it getting weaker and weaker, and I saw it start to smoke, and I just wanted to not make sure I didn't tear up 2 of our cars there with the 33. So bad day for us. Hopefully we got 2 more bullets in the race and see what happens.
All right, good luck the rest of the day and tomorrow, Kevin. Marty?
All right, we mentioned the fact as you take a look at this beautiful crowd that we have here, that's just on the backstretch. The front stretch grandstands, they are a mile long. The place seats about 142,000, and there they are. And it's a good crowd today, a beautiful day after yesterday's terrible storms. Checking in on the 18 of Kyle Busch, there he is. He's going to restart in 25th position. Let's go back and show you what happened to Kyle and why he missed his pit.
Yeah, he's pitted in the pit stall number 34. You can see all the cars coming down. He's already past that now.
And he's really, I guess, not familiar with that spot because he started 22nd, so they did not have a high choice like they're usually accustomed to.
Yeah, no, but it's a driver's responsibility to know exactly where that is. But he was watching the car. He wasn't exactly sure that was in front of him where he was going to peel off and just got by his pit. It can happen. It happened early. If you're going to make a mistake on pit road, it happens early. You can still make a good day of it.
Let's listen in on Kyle's radio.
The 7 was running down pit road too slow, so I was looking to his outside waiting for him to break off. I didn't know where he was pitted. I wasn't told where he was pitted. Doesn't matter. Stupid anyway.
So here we go. He's going to restart 25th. It's Elliott Sadler on point. And this time, Elliott decides to take the inside line with Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the outside. And we're green again here at Talladega.
Jamie McMurray braking for the bottom to try to get up there and get hooked up with Elliott. Elliott drags the brake. Now they're latched on.
Sam Hornish is looking for help from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. They're hooked up again. And we're going to go 3 wide down the backstretch.
Yeah, and where a driver that's leading the race chooses to restart is going to have to do with where a drafting partner may be, not because the inside or the outside is going to be the better spot today.
We're going to go 3 wide through 3.
Now, if you're tuning in saying, well, this is the same old Talladega I remember, just wait a couple of laps. You're going to see it, but you can see that these drivers are teamed up. They're paired up with 2-car drafts.
And we heard, talking about fuel, getting these cars full of fuel on these pit stops is going to be critical because you don't want to be sitting out there having to make a pit stop 10 laps sooner than your teammate. We're hearing that Junior didn't get quite all the fuel in his car. Doc?
Andy, you're exactly right. He took 2 right side tires, and when they dropped the jack on the right side, Junior took off. They never got the second cam plugged in. Now, Tony Uri Jr., crew chief, told me that means they're shy about 2 or 3 gallons, which is 6 or 8 laps on the racetrack. That could be costly here if we stay green.
Right now, they're out in front, Doc, but here comes Sam Hornish and Ricky Stenhouse in the 12 and the 6. Down low, you saw Elliott Sadler. On board with Junior. Tony Uri Jr. looking on. Got caution on the track. Brian Scott has had some contact.
All right, we need to bring it to pit road here and get tires.
Yeah, this looked like it could have happened possibly going into turn 3 again, as we saw earlier with Stephen Wallace.
So this may be exactly what Junior needed, because if they want to decide to do it, they could top it off now. What do you think, crew chief?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough decision there. I think as long as he has somebody to pit with and makes that pit stop, if he has to make it a few laps early, it's not a big deal, but here comes Carl Edwards.
So Carl comes back to pit road. Jamie, what's going on?
Well, on the last round of pit stops, Carl Edwards took right sides only. They figured, what the heck, let's come in and get left sides here. So they'll have, sounds like he shut the motor off, guys. We're going to have to check in with Carl, see what he's reporting. He hasn't said anything. Yep, and they are going to check the right side. Something is happening with Carl Edwards' car, guys. We'll get more, and I'll get back to you.
So now he refires the engine. We told you in the pre-race exactly. This has not been a good track for Carl or Kyle.
No, and that's not a scheduled pit stop because pit road's not open yet. And so Carl felt something that he needed to get onto pit road then.
Brian Scott has made it back to pit road. Let's take you back and see exactly what happened to the 11.
Got a teammate pushing him and Joey Logano.
Yeah, it's just, you can see they got off center just a little bit. Very lucky he didn't take both of those cars out right there, Joe Gibbs Racing.
Remember those basketballs that Dave Burns was talking about?
Wow, this could be huge.
Come on. Caution's out, still outside.
On board with Kenny Wallace.
Inside, outside, middle of 3, inside, outside.
That would have taken out 20 cars if he came up across the track.
So Brian does a good job of keeping it down low, and everybody else does a good job of getting around him. And as they come on by this time, you can see behind the pace car, it is the 7 of Dale Earnhardt Jr., Eric Almirola right behind him. Several cars in the back of the field are going to take advantage of this to come down pit road. We're going to take advantage of it. Step aside for just a few minutes here at the Aaron's 312 at Talladega.
The biggest oval track in NASCAR where big things happen. We've had some big action so far in the Aaron's 312. Big double team drafting, lots of radio chatter, and a couple of big close calls in the early going. You saw Stephen Wallace with one of those.
Yeah, Stephen Wallace had a close call there with his drafting partner, Michael Annett, who's also his teammate. They almost lost it, but they did.
Right now under the second caution of the race, after Brian Scott went for a double-decker drafting spin in turn number 3, you see the field formed up for the restart. The Lucky Dog free pass from Aaron's on this particular caution goes to Jeremy Clements in the 51 car, so he's now back on the lead lap in 29th position. Now, talked about on Countdown, and we've heard for ourselves during the race, all these different people on one driver's radio channel. They're trying to talk. Sometimes somebody else is talking at the same time. Junior?
Yeah, I know. I just wanted the TJ to get off the damn radio so I could tell you what the hell was getting ready to happen.
All right, man. Well, what do you want me to do?
The track is blocked in front of me, and you're sitting there talking, telling us what the track is blocked. I know it. I can see it. I need to tell him because he cannot see nothing behind me. I need to tell him what I'm getting ready to do.
And Therein lies a little bit of the frustration we talked about earlier, and it's going to happen, but it's a necessity, guys. I'm telling you, we have to have these different communication ways.
Driver-to-driver communication in the tag team draft as we go back racing with Earnhardt Jr. leading, Almirola to his inside. We'll see how quickly they try and team up. Well, just like that.
And they're off.
Well, you saw Jamie McMurray. He had to go high, and Elliott Sadler, not knowing that, almost turned him a little, and they managed to stay together. And here we go with the two-car tango once again.
See Brad Keselowski there in the 22 car up on the high side. His partner from earlier, Kyle Busch, is back towards the back. Kyle made another pit stop earlier, so Brad's just looking for somebody to help him a little bit. Now he's got someone attached to him. Trevor Bayne, pretty good partner to find.
Just to let you know, Brian Scott restarted back in the 27th position after having that spin that brought out our second caution. He is on the lead lap. In fact, we have a total of 29 cars on the lead lap.
It doesn't matter what style of drafting it is. Jamie McMurray is just so good at this. Driving James Finch's car, doing a great job today, leading the race right now. You see right there, they were just touching each other all the way around the track.
Also, let me update you. Also, while we were in break, Kyle Busch did come back in. He is right now shown in 12th position. Here we go, 3 wide again at Talladega.
Yeah, Ricky Stenhouse and Sam Hornish really worked well together. They went to the front earlier. Looks like they're going to lead this lap, too.
It is Stenhouse, McMurray, then Hornish, Sadler, Earnhardt, Almirola. You're on board with Junior.
See that cow flapping up and down on the base of the windshield of Sam Hornish's car.
You can see he got off of him just a little bit, and how quickly they're going backwards now. It only takes about 6 or 8 inches for you to become unattached there, and you lose literally 10 miles per hour.
Now had 20 official lead changes at the stripe. Remember, the all-time record is 36. We're only working lap 35.
See the Rusty Wallace Racing teammates now working their way back into this league picture.
How about this duo? Yeah, Mike Bliss getting a push from the 18 of Kyle Busch.
He's pushing him all the way to the front.
This is rarefied air for Bliss and that team.
Look at Reed Sorensen going to thread the needle.
This may be the first time we've mentioned the Turner Motorsports cars today. They've been sort of locked in the middle of the field, but here they come.
Yeah, Reed's got a little damage. You see that they've taped up that left front corner. Don't know where that happened.
He's got Joey Logano pushing him. Kyle's pushing Mike Bliss. Whoa, the strange combinations that this race breeds. Trevor Bayne's getting ready to hook up with the 22 right there in front of him with Brad Keselowski. Well, who's going to lead this lap as they come to the stripe? Either way, it's going to be a new face, a new name, and it's going to be Sorensen. Two lead changes. Now a little bit further back, a bigger pack there.
Yeah, this is the old style, and this doesn't work here, guys. They're going to have to get teamed up, and if they really want to try to get to that front group, they're going to have to get 2 by 2 because this type of racing doesn't work here anymore.
Well, one of the cars right at the lead part of that group, right there, see the Ream car, the 33? That is Clint Boyer. He has dropped back all the way to the 19th position. And he's hooked up with Carl Edwards. Remember, Carl had that unscheduled stop. Let's go back, show you what happened.
2 wide inside.
Whoa,
Clear by 4 out front. Still inside.
Just about lost it.
Yeah, that seems to be a trouble spot.
And Justin did tag the wall.
We see enter the corner. That seems to be the most sensitive area that we've seen today with these cars in this drafting.
Well, what's happening is that rear car is driving the front car because he's pushing so hard on that bumper. If he gets the wrong angle on that thing, the lead car really has no control.
You can see the 2 Turner teammates have hooked up there, the 30 of James Buescher, the 31 of Allgaier. And probably Clint Boyer is really happy right now that Carl had that problem and was back in the pack. These guys are running 17th through 20th.
Yeah, and as long as they're back a ways from the main group that's up front, but they're running in this tandem, they're going to be okay because their lap times are going to be comparable, so they're really not losing that much time to this front group.
But they are 9 seconds behind the leaders.
Yeah, it's a long way to come back, but right now it is Reed Sorensen, as he has now led a few laps here, as we've had 13 different leaders. We're working lap 39 with Sorensen, Logano, Stenhouse, Hornish, and Jamie McMurray here at Talladega. Well, the excitement here at the Aaron's 312 is absolutely nonstop after 41 of 117 laps. This is the battle up front. You've got Keselowski and Trevor Bayne, Sorensen and Logano heading for the stripe. Keselowski leads that lap, but will he lead the next one?
The chances are no.
Right behind that group is Elliott Sadler and Jamie McMurray. They're in the 2 and the 1.
Yeah, that might be your leaders when they get back to the line here in about 2 miles.
A little bit further back, Sam Hornish Jr. is having his best run in a long time, courtesy of the help he gets from Ricky Stenhouse. They've worked well together.
I'm waiting to see one of these 4-car freight trains and see if they can actually hook up with 4 cars like we heard Chad say in the pre-race.
On board with Jamie McMurray. He's given a little breathing room right now. Let's get an update on that 6 and 12 combination. How about it, Dave Burns?
Well, we talked to you earlier about how Ricky Stenhouse had to make sure, like he's doing right now, peeking out that right side just a little bit to get air to that engine. Sam Hornish had to do that. His oil temperature had been running as high as 270 last time down the front straightaway. Or the tri-oval, I guess. He said, got to switch this time. That's why they lost about 20 car lengths to that lead pack.
Well, and a little further back, we'll update you on Clint Boyer and Carl Edwards. They're running 15th and 16th, but they are closing on this lead group. They've cut it down to about 7.5 seconds. We'll show you what that looks like. There goes Dale Jr. and Eric Almirola, the 2 Wallace cars, and here they come. Jamie, what are you hearing?
Well, Marty, there was confusion when Carl Edwards suddenly brought it down pit road and he turned the car off. The team had no idea. Well, it turns out that the 21 of Tim George Jr. got into the 60. They came in, crashed on the front straight. The 12 is around, Marty.
Sam Hornish, just as we told you, is having one of his best runs in a long time, has gone around. And it looks like it may be a similar situation to what we saw earlier, just not hooking those bumpers up.
Yeah, this tri-oval is probably one of the most difficult parts of the track when you're linked up like that.
4 tires and 110 here. 4 tires.
Looks like that right front is going down as well.
And especially as you come out of the tri-oval, the racetrack flattens back out just before you get to the start-finish line. The car will actually move a little bit on its own there, so the driver behind has to really be aware of that and ready for any movement.
Sam's been running in the top 5 all day long here. Right now trying to get back around and hoping that that tire does not start tearing up the fender. Let's take another look.
Yeah, they're coming through. Of course, they're gaining pretty quickly. That's what I think Sam Hornish just may have come out of the throttle just a little bit. Ricky Stenhouse wasn't ready for it.
We saw it happen with Brian Scott. It happened to Jason Leffler in practice 2 days ago.
And this happened right here in front of our booth. We're on top of the grandstands right here. I felt the grandstand shake when this happened when all the fans jumped up in the air.
Let's go on board with Trevor Bayne.
See how fast they're coming here.
Sam actually does a really good job not to hit the wall.
Ricky Stenhouse being the car pushing there, he knows that they're coming up on the car, but he has no idea just how fast they're closing on that. Sam Hornish looked like he may be going to go to the outside, and but instead he may have just come out of the throttle a little bit to fall in line.
We're going to see a lot more of this today too, because we're not near the end of the race when the intensity level really gets high.
Exactly.
Sam has made it to his pit, and the crew goes to work.
You can see that back bumper, he's got it worn out.
Yeah, most importantly, he's got all the fenders intact, so his race car's there, good. Just has 4 tires. He'll just have to find Ricky Stenhouse a little bit later.
And he should be able to stay on the lead lap. That's one of the advantages.
Plenty of time.
Being on this 2.66 mile layout.
Somebody grab a wedge wrench and take one out of the right rear, please.
Yeah, the field's on the back straightaway, so they got plenty of time here to work on this car. You see them cleaning the back bumper and putting some of that.
You know, those
like
older
Pam
tires there, we might want a little bit more.
Sounds crazy.
Good right there.
You spun out and they're taking wedge out of it, which loosens it up, but that's not why, obviously, it did that.
And the cars are just heading into turn 4 as Sam pulls back out onto the Talladega Superspeedway. Brad Keselowski up front with Trevor Bayne right behind him, along with Stenhouse, Sorensen, Logano. And there is our lucky dog, Joe Nemechek. You know, Joe holds or shares about 8 records here. Most poles, most top 5s, most top 10s, most laps led, most starts. And here they come down pit road. We're going to start with the 20, and we'll send it to Vince.
Well, Joey Logano's had some good runs here at Talladega. 2nd last year, 3rd in 2009. This time they're going to take a look at the front nose. They think he might have a little bit of damage in the nose. They're also filling it with fuel, no tires. Doc?
They told Brad K, do not slide the tires. Left side tires only this time, down and away. Dave.
4 tires and full of Sunoco fuel for Ricky Stenhouse. Mike Elias-Cruci said that's so I don't have to put left sides on the rest of the day. Jamie.
Trevor Bayne, no tires, filling up with 2 cans of fuel. He desperately wants to get to the 6th car. The 60 has been his running partner, and they almost collide on pit road, guys. Brad Keselowski leads them off.
Wow, Stephen Wallace picks up 8 spots. McMurray 5. Look at Edwards and Scott. Those guys took no tires.
Yeah, driver that's not on there that lost a lot of spots, Elliott Sadler, our pole sitter.
Let's go on board the 16 of Trevor Bayne as he exits out pit road.
All right, but just take your time here. We'll start at the tail end.
Stay with us. We'll wind it back up again here at Talladega.
Before we go back racing, a reminder that ESPN is your destination for the NBA playoffs. And a full day of playoff basketball continues tonight. 7 Eastern, Joe Johnson and the Hawks take on Dwight Howard and the Magic. Then at 9:30 Eastern, LaMarcus Aldridge and the Portland Trailblazers face Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavericks. It's the NBA playoffs on ESPN, home of the Western Conference Finals tonight. Both games also available online at ESPN3.com. Who do you like?
Oh, man, I think the Magic are going to be tough. Trailblazers are playing really, really well. They're going to surprise people.
Carl Edwards, to wrap up that story, had some contact earlier, came back down pit road. They thought they had a vibration, came back down pit road again. Everything seems to be fine. Now we go back racing with Brad Keselowski in the 22, Jamie McMurray in the 1, and everybody looking for some drafting help. Steve Wallace off some pit strategy in the 66 up there in 4th. Looking like he's going to maybe hook up with Reed Sorensen in that 32.
I'm trying to figure out which way Jamie McMurray's going to go. He's getting a push right now from the 32 of Reed Sorensen.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to pair out when these cars start getting 2x2.
Elliott Sadler's all alone right now in the middle. Now Jamie McMurray pulls up in front of Elliott, so they look like they'll get back together.
Yeah, Elliott had a bad pit stop there, so that put him in a bad position, but Jamie was able to wait on him just a little bit. Now they're hooked up.
And boy, they are pulling away with the Fords out front of Trevor Bayne and Carl Edwards. Remember when Carl just, less than 15 minutes ago looked like he was in some real trouble? Here he is back up front again. That's how quickly everything has changed today here at Talladega. 24 lead changes so far.
Now Michael Walters moved up into the top 6. Man, look at this.
Eric Almirola on the right side. You saw him disappear from your screen. He lost his partner. Whoa, look out. Brian Scott almost got turned again. That's Michael Annett right up behind him.
It looks like Kyle Busch jumped in there to get with his teammate, Brian Scott.
Now Annett strung out in the middle. Look out, Keselowski gets loose.
Now he won't be penalized for that. He didn't advance his position.
No, quite the contrary.
Yeah.
He is going to lose a ton of spots. So is Reed Sorensen. It just shows you, man, it is amazing how quickly, if you lose that partner, how fast you fall.
It's well over 10 miles per hour that is going to cost you. So you have to get hooked back up together to try to make your way forward once again.
Whoa, look out on the left side of your screen. got awfully close to the wall. Is that Eric McClure's car? I think it was.
See, Rusty Wallace's cars are back together.
There's Michael Waltrip.
Great work, guys. Great work. Clear by 4 behind you.
You see, Kenny Wallace now pushing Michael Waltrip.
That was the 66 radio that you just heard.
Talking to a lot of these drivers yesterday, and as you watch this right here, Dave Burns did a great job of explaining, I hope you saw that, of just how little area they have to work with on that back bumper. And the drivers were telling me it's just so touchy. You get off of that center part just a little bit, and it's ready to turn you around. You have to be ready to catch it.
That's why we saw them putting that aerosol spray on the back of the cars, trying to lube up the rear bumper so there's not so much friction when they do move laterally across the back of the car.
Down that back straightaway, there's Justin Allgaier in the 31 Brandt machine. They're going to try the high side. The two Fords from Roush Fenway are still out in front. Here comes Jamie McMurray down low with a push from Elliott Sadler.
Yeah, these two guys are going to work well together all day long. They're good friends. Jamie's running this race to get a little more experience about this drafting to help him tomorrow. But I think that these two cars 1 and 2 could be like that before this day is over when it comes lap 117.
Well, and remember, Sadler's really coming on strong. His last 3 finishes, 4th, 5th, and 5th. You know, we've talked about the communication all race long. How about listening in? This was right before green on Carl Edwards' car.
All right, Jason, I'm going to go over to Trevor's radio. Okay. Is he going to push you or are you going to push him? I think it was better with me pushing him, wasn't it? Yeah, that's the way, yeah. I mean, just trying to figure out a pattern. If we're the push car, then I guess we're on their radio. If we're the lead car, they're on our radio, correct? I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah, I do too. 10-4.
Right now, the best pushing is being done by Elliott Sadler as he has got the number 1 of Jamie McMurray out front. And we're going to have another lead change.
Yeah, another good pusher is Ricky Stenhouse in that 6 car. We saw him take Sam Hornish up there.
And now he's just changed partners after Hornish spun.
See, just behind this, Marty, you've got Joe Nemechek being pushed by, looks like Mike Wallace. They're catching this lead group.
Saw Joe at qualifying. He was so worried because all during practice he was trying to show people how to do the 2-car tango, and because he, you know, a single car team, he needed a dance partner. Well, maybe he's just found it with Mike Wallace. You can see where they are. 193 miles an hour. Remember, we qualified at 179 when these cars are by themselves out there. McMurray leads another lap with Sadler second, Bain and Edwards. That rounds out your top 4, but it may not stay that way for long. It's the way it's been today at Talladega.
Yeah, just kind of close back on that. Joe Nemechek and Mike Wallace talk about teaching old dog new tricks.
Got a crash with Mike Bliss involved this time. Bliss, who actually got pushed to the lead of this race, through the grass.
Looks like he might have got pushed off the track in this case. No damage again. These cars are getting spun out and they're not really hitting anything.
No contact, Paul. No contact.
No contact. So again, it's probably the same scenario that we have seen so many times today.
Yeah, I think we'll see this happen on the entrance to the corner once again. It just turns that car down is a good thing, out of harm's way, so to speak.
Mike gets it back out on track. As we've completed 54 laps of the 117. And we'll get another look at it now.
Yeah, you can see right here, he's getting a good push from Joey Logano getting into the corner. And then they get just a little bit separated and just enough contact there.
Yeah, but you know, another responsibility of that driver in front is to hold that car as steady as you possibly can. You start moving around, and then you're creating a problem for yourself because there's only so much the guy in the back can do as far as pushing you and trying to stay lined up on your rear bumper.
What's amazing is they don't hit anything. I don't know how they're doing this, spinning these cars out at 190 miles an hour.
So with the 4th caution out, it'll give Scott Wimmer the lucky dog. And that'll bring 33 cars back onto the lead lap. Cars make their way down the back straightaway. We've got 62 laps to go. So far, we've had 13 different leaders with 25 lead changes in the 55 laps that we've won. See everybody gearing up for the stop.
Yeah, you see the NASCAR officials are pointing that pit road is open this time, so the crews know. The light's still red at the end of pit road, but it's going to turn green when they come around.
Only 5 cars are listed out of this race officially. Harvick, Harmon, Andrews, Long, and Jeff Green. Cars make their way through turns 3 and 4, and they'll be getting ready to head towards pit road.
Yeah, there's a lot of indecision down on pit road because they could still make it on one stop. If they make a pit stop here, they still don't shorten that. They still have to make one more stop. So there'll be some cars that'll probably stay out, some that may come in. We'll see what happens here.
Well, let's take 2 scenarios. If you're running up front, do you stay out?
Well, it depends on it. There again, Marty, it's with your partner. What do they need to do? If you have a need, come on in and you maybe pit with your partner. You see right here, Kyle Busch is coming in with his partner. Looks like Brian Scott. Who else is coming? Looks like Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, our booth position is all the way down at the far end of pit road, and the 18's in, Vince.
Well, Kyle Busch hasn't been able to get with the partners that he's wanted throughout the course of the day today. Brad Keselowski and Mike Bliss. Maybe Brian Scott will help. The 20 of Joey Logano, they checked that nose. Again, they're concerned about the hole that was in the front of the car early. Put fuel on it. They got a problem up front, Doc.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gas only, no problem, no tire change. So the car is good. It's just basically biding his time. They topped it off with Sunoco fuel.
So now the 20 has got the hood up, and problems for Joey Logano. So that dance partner that Kyle was hoping might be his teammate may not be there.
They're working on the ductwork in the nose where they've had some contact. We saw that with Mike Bliss.
All right, while we continue under this caution, now let's go back and we'll show you also what happened to the 22 of Brad Keselowski right there. As he tries to get in to his pit box, he's got to wait for Brian Scott to come out.
Well, there's Dancing with the Stars on primetime television. We got Dancing with Cars at Talladega Superspeedway today. The 2x2 partner drafting, the latest evolution in the aerodynamic racing here at the world's fastest speedway. Double wide, double file. You got to have a partner if you want to go have the big party at the end of the day.
Exactly right. The strategy is pretty much straightforward. Everybody knows what they have to do. They have to find the one to be with in order to go forward. So it's been interesting to watch these people, these racers, try to figure out who is the fastest partner.
Now, these guys also are jumping around on different radio channels, as we've documented earlier today. And when 2 drivers are on the same radio channel, sometimes you hear some kind of funny things.
My brother told me it showed me up pretty bad on TV with their football skills. That ain't good, man. I didn't mean to make you look bad. I feel like you had a better arm, though. Oh, you got an iPod up there?
Yeah, big screen TV I'm watching. About 2 back on Carl. They're still looking at that middle of him.
I'll come over and play some guitar tonight. All right, we got guitars and Uno for everybody.
Trevor Bayne in the 16, Carl Edwards in the 60, Roush Fenway Racing teammates. From the tone of that engine, was that under green?
I think that was under green. I think they were in full song, just enjoying what they do and having a great time racing today.
Well, right now they're running in 3rd and 4th positions as they double up and get set for a restart. Right now, 13 different drivers have led, 25 lead changes, wrapping up the 4th caution of the race. Jamie McMurray in the 1 is the leader. He's chosen the outside lane for this restart. I'm kind of having a hard time picturing guys having a conversation like that at 190 miles an hour, but I guess it happens.
Just a Saturday afternoon drive.
There you go. So you see the field getting set to go. We've got 33 cars on the lead lap at this point, and getting ready to have a look at the front row and how they line up double wide going back on through our little restart lineup reset. Nemechek and Wallace, a couple of guys. I want to credit Dale Jarrett or Andy Petrie with the line Old Dogs and New Tricks.
I got to give Dale credit for that one.
As a look back, all these cars on the lead lap at this point in the race. So remember, you can't change lanes on a restart until you've crossed the start-finish line. Watch Edwards and Bayne particularly. They'll be trying to team up here. We'll see how quickly it happens and have to make sure they get across that stripe before they do.
Well, the music has started, so pick your partner. And it is interesting how quickly they are hooking back up. Look at Wallace's teammates. They're together. The 1 and the 2 have paired up. They start side by side. They end up nose to tail.
And you can see they learned some valuable lessons from watching the Daytona 500 or being a part of it about staying in their lane, but they were able to make it all work and get the team back up together.
Saw Joey Logano way back in the back there along with Brad Keselowski. Those two will probably pair up, try and fight their way back towards the front. Back in 30th and 32nd position.
Boy, the closer we get to the end of this thing, the more dicey it's going to get, though, because that intensity level comes up. They'll start making those holes a little bit tighter.
Well, we've just passed the halfway mark. It is still McMurray out front, but not for long on the high side. Here comes the Roush Fenway team, and here comes Allgaier with Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah, and just behind that, you still have Mike Wallace, Joe Nemechek still working together, working on the way up front.
Yeah, that middle can be a good place. We see Allgaier and Ricky Stenhouse going up the middle. You got those other two side by side. They make a big hole in the air right there in the middle.
Let's try it 3 wide through 3 and 4. Allgaier lost his partner for a second, and look at how quickly the Pilot 62 closes.
Yeah, but he lost his partner.
Yeah, and you can't, that's the kind of move that you can't make, because now you're left there. You're going to find yourself dropping back quickly.
McMurray right there as well. Holy smokes, that gets close. Whenever somebody breaks apart like that, the closing rate gets scary. Remember Dale Jr.'s comments on the radio? The guy behind can't see a thing. You can see how much has affected Annette and Stephen Wallace, as they have dropped well back now. And
Reed Sorensen's pushed Kenny Wallace up to the 3rd spot.
I was getting ready to say, check out 3rd place, because Kenny Wallace is in some rarefied air. It has been a long time since he has run this far forward. In fact, he was saying, he says, guys, I've had to relearn starts. I've had to relearn a lot of things because I just hadn't been used to doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, but he's really excited about the way that they've been running, the opportunity that he's got. He's slim and trim and ready to go to the front.
He's lost, what, about 14, 15 pounds?
Yeah, he's lean and mean.
We've got more. Vince, you've got more on Kenny?
Well, it shouldn't be surprised that he's running well here at Talladega. His best finish last season was an 11th place finish here. He said earlier today, goal is just to get to the end and then just hope to be in a position to have a chance to win. Of course, we're still a long way from the end, but he's got to feel good about the way he's running here so far, getting some help from Reed Sorensen. Tell you what, Kenny Wallace and Scott Zipadelli as crew chief's been a nice combination here in the early going this season.
Well, his last top 5 finish was Memphis back in 2008. He does have 2 top 10s this year in this 09 ride. Still out in front is Jamie McMurray and Elliott Sadler. Trevor Bayne, Carl Edwards right behind. Taking a look at through the field, Nationwide regulars. Elliott Sadler in 2nd, Bayne in 3rd, Kenny Wallace in 5th, Sorensen 6th, Buescher in 7th, Leffler 8th, Annette. I mean, we were talking about this would be an opportunity for some of these guys.
And Bayne up front now. It's a big push from Carl.
We're going to go to the outside.
Through the tri-oval.
Like Kenny's going to try for the lead.
They may get it. Not this lap. It's still Bayne, Edwards, Wallace, and Sorensen. But they're going to hang on that high line.
Yeah, Reed Sorensen doing a nice job hanging right on Kenny Wallace's bumper there. Pushing him to the front. I think they'll be back in front by the time they get back to the start-finish line now.
28 lead changes so far. Look again at the 1 and the 2 pairing up as they are streaking on the high side.
At some point here, Dale, you got to start thinking about the end of the race. I know all this is fun and games playing right now, but they got to figure out where they need to be and position themselves for the end of the race.
Yeah, I think they're all thinking about that. And when we look in that mix right there, we also see Sam Horners, who spun just a little bit ago. He's hooked up with Brian Scott, back up here battling in the top 10 once again.
Horners shown in the 8th spot right now.
Kenny Wallace will lead that lap.
Yes, he will. First time that Kenny has led in 2011, and he is our 14th different leader. Right behind him, pushing him, is the 32 of Reed Sorensen. What are you hearing, Doc?
As you watch that tandem, Marty, the 32 and the 09, what's happening basically is Reed Sorensen is using his radio to help steer for Kenny Wallace, telling Kenny where he wants to go, where he wants to run. Kenny wanted to run way up toward the wall. Reed said, no, 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 we're going to lose too much momentum. Basically what he said, with all due respect to the spotters, at this place, the drivers should be driving the cars and talking to each other, not talking to spotters. And that right now is working really well for the 32 and the 09.
Just watching Kenny Wallace, he's sawing that wheel now. That's a lot of steering for this track.
Yeah, there's nothing easy about this because that back car is pushing you so much, it's almost lifting the rear wheels off the ground, and you're having to really keep up with your steering. You see, now they're making that switch.
Inside, drag the brake a little bit, clear.
You heard him call for dragging the brake. He gets back hooked together.
Not yet. They're not quite
yet.
latched up.
And look how it is costing them. After leading a couple of laps, they're going to be pushing to be right in the top 10. That's how fast it can change. 66 are complete here at Talladega. Jamie McMurray's back up front. We are under our 5th caution here at Talladega after 69 of the 117 laps, and that's the reason why Ricky Stenhouse Jr. tags the wall with the right front. But this was a crash not of his making. This was earlier in the lap.
The Allgaier gets loose in the tri-oval.
They recovered from that, though. That wasn't the problem.
And they made the swap.
See, right here, the 31 car is leading Ricky Stenhouse over there. He thinks that they have those cars cleared. Stenhouse does, too, obviously. Trevor Bain is still there, and it turns him into the outside wall.
Yeah, you're basically having to clear 2 cars. Right here, the second car is just not clear.
Catching some slow ones. Watch them up here.
So a tough break for Ricky.
All clear, man.
He has top 10 finishes in 5 of the 6 races in 2011, but that's not going to happen today. Now, we are going to get a red flag. You saw the fire because there is oil all down pit road, and they're going to have to check how far out it extends onto the racetrack. The last DNF for Stenhouse was May of last year.
Yeah, they're going to have to red flag so they can clean. This is a big mess on the back straightaway all the way down to the entrance to pit road and down pit road. It's just going to be easier to clean this up without having to deal with traffic. So they'll stop the cars after they cross the start-finish line.
So the crew goes to work on the 6 car, but the day is over for that piece. While they continue to work, pace car has picked everybody up and stopped them over. As we'll be under this red flag situation now until we get the track cleaned up. Take you back one more time to show you exactly what happened as Ricky Stenhouse's day comes to an abrupt end. Under a red flag situation here at Talladega, it gives us a chance to tell you what's coming up on the calendar. And it's the visitmyrtlebeach.com NHRA 4-wide Nationals with qualifying tonight at 6 and finals tomorrow at 7 Eastern, both of those on ESPN2. Then NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy. That's tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. The Tequila Patron American Le Mans Series from Long Beach, tomorrow 5 Eastern on ESPN2. And our next NASCAR Nationwide Series event from Nashville next Saturday, 2 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. So our points leader, Ricky Stenhouse, has a major issue. And let's go back and take another look at this, guys.
Yeah, this thing kind of developed early on. Actually coming out of turn 2 where the lead cars kind of got slowed down. You see him move just a little bit to the right.
And Dave Burns is caught up with Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah, Marty, he's finally had a look at that replay now inside the hood there. What did you see, and how could that have been avoided?
It was just racing, I guess. It looked like Trevor might have got a push from Carl, got a little loose, and I was just following the 31, kind of wherever they went, and looked like the left front just got into the right rear and got us in the fence. It's tough. Our Black Wagon SB Ford Mustang was awesome all day. yeah, I can't thank the guys enough at the engine shop, the body shop, and everything, getting this thing back from Daytona. We were really, really fast, just didn't enforce.
Mike Kelly told me this morning the one thing you guys couldn't do as points leaders was fail to finish, and that happened today, Ricky.
Yes, sir, it's tough. It's a tough one to swallow. It's the first of the year, but you know, we'll get back out there hopefully if they can get that and make some laps. But it's going to be a tough one for us. We'll go to Nashville next week.
All right, thanks for the time. They are working on his 6 car right now. Man, it hit that wall hard, guys.
Yeah, I just don't see how they're going to be able to get that out back on the track with all the engine damage as well.
Yeah, that damage, yeah, no oil in the engine running for a while.
Let's go back and take another look at this, because look at it right there with Elliott Sadler.
He probably got a shove from McMurray right there, got a little bit loose, and you can see they got separated, so they're slow. They're going to be a lot slower. And then Allgaier's got a big push coming from Ricky Stenhouse. They were going to try to make this move, and you can see here how they just moved it a little bit to the right with all the momentum and just timed it just slightly off.
Yeah, but the 16 and the 60 had a big run coming also, and Allgaier could not see that. So, as Ricky Stenhouse said, product of racing here.
Well, this is going to shake up the points for sure, and it means right now, as it stands, Jason Leffler would take over the lead, but as you can see, Justin Allgaier and look at Elliott Sadler. They would be just 3 behind, but we still got 47 laps to run.
Back at Talladega, late pit stops. The 1 car, Jamie McMurray, running second. Right side tires and fuel. Let's go to Doc Punch.
Reed Sorensen will take 4 tires. That's the top of your screen, left side. They're still going to be about 7 laps shy on fuel. Dave.
Doc, they will not change the tires on Sam Hornish's car. They are cleaning the bumper so they could put Bear Bond on it so he can be pushed. Jamie?
And Elliott Sadler took right sides and fuel. Good news for him. The 1 car, his running partner all day, got out ahead of him. They're continued locked up at the front. Marty.
Here's the race off pit road as they come across. And come on, guys. Show it. Well, guess we're not going to have it this time. All right, we'll reset it for you when we come back. As there is Sam Hornish as they're trying to pound some sheet metal back into place on the 12 car. We'll reset the field for you and go back after a 5-minute, 30-second red flag situation.
How about your shoes? Are they tight? 10-4. Got fireproof underwear on and everything else.
7 and 33. Let's switch partners so we can communicate better.
Let's check up right here. They're going everywhere. Let's check up.
Fine with that, Eric. Anytime you want to, just let me know.
Side Ford's having issues.
It was going early.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted the TJ to get off the damn radio. I need to tell him because he cannot see nothing behind me. I need to tell him what I'm getting ready to do.
Caution's out. Caution's out. Just trying to figure out a pattern. If we're the push car, then I guess we're on their radio. I think that's the best way to do it.
Just some of the excitement that we have had here at Talladega Superspeedway today as we've knocked down 73 of 117 laps as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. And let's listen in again on Carl Edwards, who's in the 4th position.
Well, if you want, stick around. You know, if you want to after the race, go play some football or something like that. If you want, throw a frisbee around or something. All right, I'll let you know for sure. Here you got Annie all weekend by yourself. I saw your mom at dinner last night. She said just you and Annie. That's cool. I hate to interrupt y'all's social hour here, but what we're going to do, we're going to take 2 tires, fill up with fuel, and get a tear off there. Okay, we're good.
That was Mike Beam spoiling all the fun for the boys.
Yeah, we are here to race, Marty.
That's right. Hey, we have got 34 cars on the lead lap. Some of them happy, some of them not so happy. Right now, Sam Hornish Jr. can't be thrilled. He's back in the 28th position as they had to go to work on that car in pit road. Let's get an update with Chad Walter, his crew chief. How about it, Dave?
Yep, Marty caught up with Chad on top of the pit box. Chad, how good is the fix, and can Sam get back to the front?
You know, we got an opportune caution there for us anyway to take the time. You got long caution laps here. Get topped off with fuel. Make sure that it's, you know, twice as good as it needs to be because you never know what's going to happen out there. We're plenty good to go with the damage fix on the right rear, and the Alliance Truck Parts Dodge is, man, it's hauling the freight, and we really think we got a good shot at this race, and we just need to get to the end from here.
Will you need any more fuel?
Right now, we're just a little bit outside of our window. You know, a couple more cautions. We'll see how we are. I think we're a little bit better than a few are right now.
All right, so that's a good look, Marty, at the guys who have just pitted that time and topped off for fuel, maybe a couple laps short on all cases.
Thank you, David. As we want to let you know that Jennifer Jo Cobb got the free pass. She is back on the lead lap. The record for lead lap cars here, 29 back in 06. We've got 34 right now with 44, now soon to be 43 laps to go. It is McMurray taking the high side. Green flag is out. Sadler, Almirola, Edwards, and Bain, your top 5. McMurray and Sadler hook right back up together again.
Yeah, they pulled that restart off to perfection once again to get hooked back up and pulling away from the field right now.
Going through the speedy drive back there, that's where the contact was with Stenhouse's car. Whoa, a little twitch from the 7 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Three wide through 4. It has been like this every restart.
Brad Keselowski back there, he's trying to find a partner to get hooked up with.
Reed Sorensen and Jason Leffler. Leffler could come out of this day with the points lead. On board, Stephen Wallace.
It's getting touchy here. You see now everybody's getting a little bit more antsy.
Yeah, Keselowski's getting a partner in his teammate, Sam Hornish, back up there again.
Hornish has moved up 11 spots already, from 28th to 17th. On board there with Michael Waltrip. Back up front, it's Jamie McMurray, but they're getting pressure from here, the 2 Roush Fenway Fords. Vince, what are you hearing on the number 1?
Well, Jamie McMurray led 21 laps in this race last year, but ended up in a crash and finished 14th. Communication obviously critical in this event here at Talladega, but McMurray's having a radio problem. He can hear his crew fine, but Jamie's microphone is not working properly, so Elliott Sadler and Jamie Max Cruz are not hearing McMurray clearly. So far, it hasn't been a huge issue, but it seems to be getting worse as the race is progressing. You see Nick Harrison there, the crew chief on the 1 car for McMurray. They've really been worried about this as the race is progressing.
They're trying on that low side, but how would you like to not have good communication in this deal?
No, that's probably not going to work to their favor. But you have somebody like Jamie and Elliott working together right now. I think that they can probably work things out. They kind of know what to expect from each other right now.
It has been one exciting day here at Talladega. We have had a total of 35 lead changes, 1 shy of the all-time record set at this very track back in April of 07. That's been the story of the 2-car tango, as here we go again, Kyle Busch. And remember when Clint Boyer was so far back in this field, struggling? Well, there he is in 2nd place. There's the magic number. If we get 1 more lead change, we tie it.
I think it's going to change 3 times before we get back to the line, Marty.
Well, Jamie McMurray has led the most today, 19 of the 78 laps that we were about to complete. But the leader of the most laps has failed to win 3 of the last 4 races here. So maybe it's not a good thing to be leading all those laps.
But McMurray led another one.
Yeah, that was almost a dead heat right there between Kyle Busch and Jamie McMurray.
On board with Clint Boyer. A little bit further back down on the low side, you see Trevor Bain with his Roush Fenway teammate, the 60 of Carl Edwards. Doc, what are you hearing?
Guys, for the last 35 laps, Clint Boyer has been very hesitant to push anybody. Why? Because the nose of his car in the bumper bar lifts the car in front of him off of the ground and almost turns him. So he faded back to 28th spot. A moment ago in the restart, Kyle Busch said, come on, let's go. So now the 33 and 18 have hooked up, but the 33's got to be very, very careful behind the 18 not to lift the Toyota off the ground.
Well, we've always said Kyle Busch can fly around the racetrack. He may prove it today.
Okay, there's 37 lead changes, Marty.
They're the new record, because there you see Trevor Bain and Carl Edwards. Edwards pushes him to the lead, and here comes the 18 right back on the high side. We still have 38 laps to go here at Talladega. It has been non-stop lead changes up front and a lot of pushing and shoving. going on.
Five laps to go. You're looking at the race for the lead, and there is trouble off of turn number 2. That is the 81 car. Don't hit it. Ooh, just a gentle tap. Donnie Neuenberger bringing out the caution for the 6th time in this race. As we come back to the Aaron's 312 at Talladega Superspeedway, be sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. You can see Neuenberger's car pretty well unscathed.
Donnie did a good job. He really had both feet in as deep as he could set them, and just eased up and bumped the wall there. Looks like there's not a whole lot of damage. A little bit on the left front there. Probably another one of those situations to where he just got scrubbed off, trying to line those bumpers up like DJ's talking about all day long.
Watch the front of the pack on this replay. There's the 81 with Mike Bliss behind him, the 19.
He and Mike are coming off the corner, and it just inadvertently got him in the wrong spot, and Donnie goes for a ride. Does a great job of keeping it off the fence.
See the roof flaps, the safety flaps, one of them anyway, coming up, and he just barely gets that stop.
Yeah, I mean, like DJ said earlier, it's about 15 inches of surface to connect to, and boy, if you just don't hit it correctly or right, we're getting late in the day, guys, probably getting a little bit tired in that race car. It is just so difficult, so I think there's more of this to come.
So, caution out. Pit road is closed for the moment. We were discussing among ourselves during the commercial that if it went green to the finish, there might be a couple of guys that could have made it on fuel. Now we know it's not going to go to the finish, and the question is, will anybody stay on the racetrack, or will everybody come in and top it off to be sure?
I think he'd probably take a chance, come down, just top it off, and get back out on the racetrack. But I'm going to tell you what, I was watching the 12 car of Sam Hornish Jr. He is absolutely toting the mail. He has come from 22nd or 28th all the way up to 4th. So, boy, he is on the move.
Sam is a player in our 5-hour Energy Rapid Recap while we wait for pit road to be open. Let's show you what's happened so far through the first 84 laps of this race. It has been the two-car tango all day long.
Since the green flag fell, all the two-car pods have broken out, and they've gone racing all day long.
Pods, new term there.
We will do word there.
It's been exciting two-car racing, that's for sure. We have seen drivers run up on some close situations. We've seen people make three-wide moves. So Kevin Harvick thought to be a factor in this one, went out early.
Was good up front early and had a little engine failure there. It ended his day.
Kevin is in the garage, will finish 39th in this race. Pit road has even been a spot of some trouble. This is Kyle Busch early on.
Yeah, a lot of guys looking. You know, Kyle didn't even see it. He couldn't even get to his pit stall. We had to go back around, come back down the next time. So seen a lot of skirmishes on pit road. Guys really hustling, trying to get in and out.
Watch Fred Keselowski, white car, middle of the screen, has to stop and wait for somebody leaving before he even goes into his pits. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., championship leader coming into the race, scuffed the wall earlier, then really clobbered the wall late.
Saw kind of a chain reaction accident there. It started up with Elliott Sadler and Jamie McMurray, who were actually split and changing lanes coming across. Justin Allgaier, he comes up the racetrack, takes Trevor Bayne with him, knocks Ricky Stenhouse into the wall, ends his day.
So the championship leader in the garage, that one of the big stories on the day, 40, I was going to say 39, but it's now 40 lead changes, wow. 15 different drivers, working the 6th caution of the race, critical final pit stops. What will the strategy be? Will anybody make a key mistake? Who's going to get off pit road first, Vince?
Well, the one car of Jamie McMurray carrying a decal that says, "In memory of Neil Bonnet." The Alabama native would be proud of this Phoenix racing team today. It's been a real good race car, packing it full of fuel, and off they go, Doc.
All right, Earnhardt, Hornish, and Almirola. Fuel only for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's down and away. How about Hornish, Dave?
Fuel only for Sam. Waits just a second to get it full. No tires, and he leaves, giving up 4th position, Jamie.
And Eric Almirola, fuel only for the 88, and his dance partner pitted as well, Alan.
Wow, 60 and 16, Edwards and Bayne. Going to be a little farther back in traffic than they had been for this restart. Kyle Busch, the big gain on that stop, up 8 positions to 8th. Under caution, 32 laps to go. You can bet there'll be a frantic final 32 laps.
ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues tomorrow and Monday night. First, 8 Eastern, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. It's one of the hottest hitters in the game, Nelson Cruz, as he leads the defending AL champion Texas Rangers against Mark Teixeira and the Yankees. And then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball, Prince Fielder and the Brewers head to Philadelphia to face Ryan Howard. And the NL East leading Phillies, that's at 7 Eastern. It's Major League Baseball on ESPN Sunday and Monday night. All right, before the restart, let's get an update on the 99 of Michael Waltrip. Dave Burns.
Well, Marty, it's sort of the same update for everybody. You have to make sure that you got the fuel in the car that you were trying to get in the car. So afterwards, the crew gathered around a little scale, They take the can over there. They see how much is out of the can to know how much they got in there. And they're satisfied, according to the fueler right there, that they got everything in they need to go past the regulated distance, just in case we need to.
Well, this time by, when we get the green, there'll be 30 laps remaining. It's Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's selected the inside line with Elliott Sadler on the high side, then Almirola, Waltrip, Logano, McMurray, Hornish, Kyle Busch. That's your top 8, and we're green. See that? McMurray trying to find the 2-car again. Almost found the 99.
Well, there's some sense of urgency to get with your teammates.
Oh, look out! Here we go.
Man.
Right into the wall. McMurray. Kyle Busch is involved. The 66 and the 99 of Waltrip goes around. Oh, and another late hit right there with McMurray, and unable to get the car stopped. Jamie's okay, but obviously the car is not.
Your fault. We're done here, guys.
A lot of good cars torn up here, man.
41 of Jennifer Jo Cobb is involved also. You saw the 28 of Derek Cope. There is Tim George Jr. He's got severe damage. Eric McClures from number 14. He's limping back to pit road.
Looked to be a big product of drivers trying to get teamed back up with someone they'd been drafting with before.
That's Mike Bliss. He was one of our 16 different leaders today. And we got a big mess to clean up. Stephen Wallace heading for the garage area. He and Michael Ednett had done a really good job of following the orders. They were running nose to tail all day long, helping each other out.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. You're here and you've missed everything, and then on a restart when things are, you're most susceptible, really. As we said before, cautions breed cautions, and this is another certainly extreme case of that.
Clint Boyer in as well, as he's got some damage. You saw Jennifer Jo Cobb. There's Jamie out of the car. Jennifer was actually still running on the lead lap. She was one of 34 drivers on the lead lap.
We're on pace, certainly, as you mentioned, for a record for a number of cars on the lead lap, but this has taken a lot of them out.
Here we go.
It's like you say, it's just a sense of urgency. All these cars trying to get with each other, and you see some contact right there mid-pack. Looked like Boyer was involved in that.
That looked like Kyle Busch getting into Jamie McMurray is what got all of that started. And I think he was just trying to push Jamie, but a little bit too much of a push and maybe at the exact wrong spot on his rear bumper.
James Buescher and Justin Allgaier both slid through unscathed. Here's another look.
See this, they try to go up through the middle.
Looks like there was some contact with Michael Waltrip, too, at the same time.
And it could have been Boyer into the 18 also that made him get into the 1 a little bit harder.
On board, Stephen Wallace. Alan said it from the very beginning of the broadcast. It is always big here in Talladega, and this one was big.
You can see right there, you got 3 cars pushing each other, and they're just one's driving the other, and there's just no control.
Yeah, and I think Kyle was actually trying to stay off of Jamie a little bit after he saw he got him a little bit squirrely, but then Clint Boyer was on his bumper pushing hard.
All right, we still got a lot of cleanup to do. We're going to go on board with Clint Boyer as the big one occurs with 28 laps to go.
right there.
Well, we've always talked about the big ones here at Talladega, Daytona. We've just had the big one today with 28 laps to go right down the backstretch. And about a dozen cars involved in this. Several have limped back as we are in a red flag situation again. Our second of the day, third of the year. The only other one was back at Daytona. And Kenny Wallace had a great view of this, and he managed to get around it.
You can see all these cars on the outside. Got a gap between all of them until they get right here and they start trying to come back together. And you see Michael's up on the outside against the wall. You can't hardly see him right here. Looks like there was some contact almost simultaneous from the side and from the back.
Yeah, sometimes on these restarts, you're not exactly sure where you're going, but Kenny Wallace had gotten kind of trapped down on the inside, and it was a blessing for him this time. He was able to miss all of this.
Let's go on board with Trevor Bayne.
One outside of you, two outside of you.
Big
All
push
clear,
from
man.
Carl.
All clear.
That was a big help to Trevor Bayne to get through
behind
this.
you, man. Back off of him. Back off of him. Watch your back. Inside.
And there he is. Let's talk to him as he is our in-race reporter. DJ?
Hey, Trevor, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Dude, yes, sir.
Well, it looks like as we've got inside of 30 laps here, things have kind of heated up. What was your view of that accident right there?
It's gotten a lot crazier. I mean, we saw a little bit of it earlier. I hate the six got torn up there, you know, it's our teammate. But that last wreck, off the corner, I saw the 99 and the 20 were broke apart, and Carl was pushing me really good. We got hooked up, and we got by all that mess, fortunately, before it all broke out. But I saw a couple pairs that were trying to get lined up that were separated, and I knew that's normally not good. So I don't really know what happened there behind us, but I'm just glad we were in front of it.
We've had almost 90 laps now to figure out your car better in front. I know you want to be in front when it's over, but is it you seem to perform better with you leading Carl?
You know, it's kind of the opposite of what we've seen, you know, at the last race like this. Our car was a better pusher. This time we seem to be faster and more stable being the leader. When I push Carl, it seems to move his around a little bit. But when he pushes me, we're really stable, seem to be fast, and we've been out to the front a couple times. So our Ford Mustang's good. His is good pushing us, and we'll see if we can't work our way up through here patiently. Try not to get in any of those messes.
All right, we appreciate you talking with us. Have a nice 28 laps here, and we'll talk to you later on.
Good, thank you all.
And in case you're interested, Trevor will start 11th tomorrow at the race here at Talladega. And as we continue under this red flag situation, we've got another view from one of our onboard cameras and exactly what happened.
Yeah, Michael Waltrip was kind of in the eye of the storm when this thing broke out. See what he sees.
Here they come, man. Hold what you got.
Absolutely, right there. Really looked like Murray got forced into it.
We just got clambered.
And Vince is caught up with Michael Waltrip and Mike Bliss.
Yeah, and both these guys taking particular interest in the replay, and it was just described as you were kind of in the eye of the storm. Michael, what was your vantage point?
I know exactly what happened, and it happened on the radio before the restart. The two decided he would manipulate the restart so that the one could get behind him and they could work together like they had before. So, you know, it's the way you race, but the one and the two messing around got me crashed, and it's unfortunate, but that's what they decided to do, and the result was a big wreck.
Unfortunate indeed. Thanks, Mike. We're going to go have Jamie McMurray here in just a moment. Mike Bliss has stepped away.
Well, I think he may change his mind when he sees the replay a little better.
I don't know. I saw them trying to work a little bit together. But one thing that hasn't changed, the drafting may have changed, but there's always been tempers and differing opinions as to what happened here at Talladega.
Well, we have now got the red flag removed. We're back under caution. Gives us a chance also to send it to Jamie Little.
Well, we've heard one opinion from Michael Waltrip, Stephen Wallace out of the race. Of course, you're okay. What did you see happen?
I don't really know what happened. This is just another product of this two-car stupid racing. But I hate it, you know. Under a lot of pressure from these 5-hour guys to get this season going off right, and we didn't need this at all. We had a really good car today. Me and Michael Annette, my teammate, were working really, really well, and feel like we had a shot to win it. You know, hell, the whole field did. So we were back there just kind of, you know, cruising around, and then I don't know, somebody screwed up in front of us there and wrecked the whole field. But like I said, I hate it for 5 Hour Energy and all my guys, and it's just a tough deal.
We're on board with him there. Glad you're okay. Good news is Michael Annett, his teammate, is out there. Let's go over to the medical center with Vince Welch.
About the only thing that didn't work for Jamie McMurray today was his radio. Everything else was about perfect until that incident. Give us your understanding and vision of what happened there.
I really don't know what happened. I was obviously trying to get back to Elliott. We'd worked together really well all day. And Elliott was trying to get away from the 99 so that I could get hooked up with him. And I pulled to the inside, and I think the 18 was behind me, and he gave me a big shove. And I thought I was just going to have to go with him because of the momentum we had. And then I just felt like I got hit in the right rear. I don't know. It's hard to do the evaluation until you see it on TV. But it was a really good day. I want to thank James Finch for giving me the chance to drive his car. That Landon did a really good job at Daytona in it. And it's just a really fast car. Those guys did a great job.
Thanks, Jamie. Marty?
16 total cars involved in this incident here at Talladega. We're back under caution. 6 minutes, 45 seconds on that red flag. We'll reset it for you and go back to green flag racing.
Aaron's 312 at Talladega is brought to you by Aaron's. Nobody beats Aaron's. Nobody. And brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy fixes tired fast. Visit 5hourenergy.com.
Welcome back to the Aaron's 312 at Talladega. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. You know, we've talked about how vision is so difficult on these cars if you are the pusher in this case of the two-car tango. Now, this is our roof camera up on top of Trevor Bain's car, and obviously you can see into the car in front. But let's go to the Craftsman Tech Garage. Tim, what are they really seeing?
Tell you what, Marty, it's very difficult. You know, the roof cam's mounted up here about 53 inches. Well, the driver's eyes, they're down here about 10 inches lower. And the hand signals, very important inside the race car. You got a cutaway deal, but when you're looking through that Lexan and the camera guy gets the camera back in position about 43 inches, you can't see anything through these cars. And that's what concerns a lot of the drivers. Even though they have great radio communications, very difficult to see through these things. Guys?
Thank you, Tim. On board right there with Kenny Wallace.
Yeah, you just don't get quite the perspective here with that on board up on the roof that the driver actually is seeing. That was a good
yeah, it's a great look for us, but you're right. It just does not represent what's going on. Donnie Neuenberger gets the free pass. He's still 2 laps down. And we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing with Dale Earnhardt Jr. selecting the high side. Eric Almirola, Joey Logano, Sam Hornish, Trevor Bayne. That's your top 5, and the green flag flies. Here we go. 25 to go. Junior pair up the 2 Fords. Trevor Bayne with Carl Edwards in the 60 right behind him.
Field's thinned down, and we saw Elliott Sadler. He doesn't have a partner like he had earlier with Jamie McMurray gone. Who's he going to work with?
Kenny Wallace doesn't have a partner right now. Sam Hornish is hooked up with the 20 of Joey Logano. The 32 and the 38, the Turner cars, Reed Sorensen and Jason Leffler.
There goes Mike Wallace around Kenny Wallace. So much for the brotherly love.
Yeah, you see Elliott Sadler's got James Busher on his bumper right now, so they'll try to work together and make their way forward.
That's Joe Nemechek pushing Mike Wallace.
Well, they've been working together the whole race.
Now, look at the 18 of Kyle Busch. He gets Joey to peel off, leave Sam, and now they're going to pair up.
It looked like the 18 got a lot of damage in that accident a minute ago.
Kyle had to restart at the back of the field because they had too many men over the wall. How about splitting the middle with Brad Keselowski all alone? Let's go back up front because the battle for the lead is changing again.
Boy, look at this run that Sorensen has.
Yeah, on the outside, they're like 5th and 6th right now, and well, now they're 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, if you watched the countdown show, Chad Canal said he was going to be watching these Turner Motorsports cars work together today. He thought that they could be a factor by the time this race was coming to a close.
How about the guys in the back of that group? How about the old guys, Mike Wallace and Joe Nemechek?
Yeah, Mike Wallace's car's got tape all over the front of it where he's been beating and banging all day, and he's banging his way to the front right now.
You know, I was going to make a point earlier about these 2 guys working together, about teaching old dogs new tricks. These guys were 2 of the best at the old style drafting. Now they've teamed up and got themselves up here with a chance to win.
And these 8 cars have pulled away from the rest of the pack. It's Trevor Bayne with Carl Edwards in tow. Down low in the 7, that's Dale Jr. along with Eric Almirola, and here go the Turner boys up high.
They've been hanging around here all day. Now they're going to really show some strength.
We could see a big shift in the points in the Nationwide Championship chase. Right now, coming across the tri-oval, heading for the start-finish line, those 8 cars still in that group. Let's show you what the points look like right now. Remember, Stenhouse came in with the lead, but it could be Leffler leaving with it. But we still have 22 laps to go, and we've already seen how much has changed.
I think they're going to have a hard time beating this combination that's out front right now. But you get yourself in the right position, getting the right pull from them and a good push from behind, we can see how quickly that can change.
Well, let's get an update on Mike Wallace. Jamie, what are you hearing?
Well, Mike and Joe Nemechek together made this plan before the race started. The idea was to have Mike in the 01 ahead of Joe Nemechek. Why? Because he has better horsepower. So they hooked up, they've been communicating the whole race, and they have not left each other since the start, Marty.
All right, Jamie, thanks for the update. And you can see the swap going on between the 38 and the 32 right now. They're trying to make it as quickly as possible. You notice a car that's missing from this group? How about the 2 of Elliott Sadler? He is all the way back to 14th. He lost his best dance partner in that crash.
They had a great combination going there with Jamie McMurray, and this is really hurting Elliott Sadler's chances to win this thing.
He's got James Buescher in tow, but right now the 2 of them are 6.7 seconds behind the race lead.
Look at Nemechek pushing Mike Wallace, though, all the way up to 3rd now. Mike Wallace is.
Yeah, the key's going to be how long can he stay back there and continue this.
This time by, we will have 20 laps remaining here at Talladega. If you have not been with us, you have missed 16 different leaders, 43, a record number of lead changes, and we're not done yet. And don't forget that the last 8 nationwide races here at Talladega, there has been a caution in every single one of them within the last 3 laps.
Look at that. Boy, that's a little bit risky.
Trevor and Carl are hugging the bottom line. That looks like the line that Mike Wallace wants to go. Junior and Eric Almirola right behind the 87 of Nemechek. Here come the 2 Turner cars, and all of a sudden, Brad Keselowski and Sam Hornish Jr. have hooked up, and they're starting to get back into the mix. While we've got all this going on, let's get you up to speed with Nationwide Insurance on our race leaders. Jamie Little, you're up.
And Trevor Bayne continues to lead the field in the 16 car, and his teammate Carl Edwards just behind him. Something to keep in mind here when you're watching Trevor Bayne. Yes, he did win the Daytona 500, but that was in a Cup car. He has yet to win in a Nationwide car. They have company on the inside as you take a look there. So keep that in mind. He is going for the points. Carl Edwards is not, but Trevor wants to be second, not first, on the last lap. Vince?
Well, Talladega is a place where sometimes you get surprise winners. We talked about it in the countdown show, and maybe it's going to be a Mike Wallace or a Joe Nemechek. What a surprise that would be, but we've got a couple of veterans that are really making it work, teaming up together. Wallace and Nemechek. Nemechek has won here a couple of times before in the Nationwide Series, but it's been a while. 98 and 2000. Certainly knows his way around here, and he and Mike Wallace, one of the more interesting tandems we're seeing here today at Talladega. Now,
and on the outside of that twosome are the Junior Motorsports twosome of the 7 and 88. When you talk about winning at Talladega, one name comes to the top, Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt Sr. won here 10 times. Junior has won here 6 times, 5 in the Cup car. Now, when I asked Tony Eury Jr., the crew chief, said, what's going on with the 788? His words were 2, just chilling. We're going to chill for a little while, and when Dale Jr. said, let's go, inside of 10 laps, that's when they'll make their move. Marty.
All right, thank you, Doc. You know, getting back to Nemechek and Mike Wallace, these guys, Nemechek's last top 10 finish, November of 05 at Homestead. It's a long time ago.
Looks like Junior chilled long enough.
Yeah, he's tired of chilling.
Yeah, look at the 22 car, Brad Keselowski. Was he not involved in that wreck? Look at him, passed this car up, he's banged his way back to the front.
And And look at the crowd, Junior Nation on their feet. That's the grandstands coming out of turn number 2 on the backstretch. And they are trying to open up some ground over Keselowski and Hornish. Dave, what are you hearing on the Dodges?
Well, first of all, Sam Hornish was going to go with a 22 if it looked like he had speed, and he does as they go to the inside to look for the lead now. Remember, Hornish used to run the IndyCar Series, and on 1.5-mile tracks, he had 11 victories. He compares the last-minute moves you have to make on those tracks to the kind of last-minute move you make here today. And as he pushes his teammate to the lead, he might have a shot at doing that.
44 total lead changes now. A little bit further behind this group, Trevor Bayne and Carl Edwards have fallen off the pace. Let's listen in on the radio, see if we can hear what's going on.
Hey, Mike, I got a little tire vibration, like I got a tire coming apart. We got any tires down there? Give them worse. Staying about the same. It's like it just came on. It's staying the same. I'll let you know, man. I'll let you know.
Well, while all this goes on, that's one thing you don't want to have to deal with.
I'm going to tell you, Mike Wallace is about out of control there off the front bumper of Joe Nemechek.
They have gotten loose multiple times.
Yeah, it looks like a time bomb ticking right there.
Between the two,
fast.
Wallace is 52 years old. Nemechek's 47. The old guy's doing good today. Meanwhile, here comes Junior again with Eric Almirola in tow. They go around. Slower traffic, couple of cars coming back out on the track. One of them also is Clint Boyer. Looking a little bit further back, there is the 16 and the 60, and they are losing contact with this lead group.
Yeah, Carl says he's got something going on there. Don't know what it is, but it's definitely slowed them up a bunch.
Yeah, and even though they're staying attached, it may be that the 16's having to slow down enough to keep Carl right there, and they're just losing these front guys.
Well, they better not lose too much more because we've got 14 laps remaining. And the guys up front aren't slowing down to let them catch up.
Yeah, you got Kyle Busch, Joey Logano now working together. Caught this group. 14 laps ago, it's going to get big.
Remember, Kyle Busch has never won here. It's been his worst track. In 7 appearances, he's DNF'd 3 times. He was involved in that crash that took 16 cars involved. They were able to stay on the lead lap, and here he comes on the high side with Logano pushing. And I asked Kyle before qualifying, coming down the stretch, do you want to be in front or in back? He says, I want to be the pusher. He said, I think you're going to have the advantage slingshotting to the stripe. Vince, what are you hearing about Kyle?
Well, it's been somewhat amazing that they've been able to stay on the lead lap and still stay in contention, considering being involved in that accident. They had some crush panel damage, had to check the toe, were rubbing the wheel well, had to cut a little bit off the fender. So they've really had to work on this race car to get it in position to be a helper for Joey Logano. Busch hasn't had much success here. Logano's been a second and a third the last 2 years. Maybe one of these two guys is due this time, huh?
And remember, Logano had the hood up.
Here goes Mike Wallace for the lead.
Mike Wallace and Joe Nemechek. They're going for the lead now. On the low side, underneath the 22 of Keselowski. This ought to bring the fans to their feet.
I'll tell you, Johnny Davis, the owner of this 01 car, he worked so hard. His team's underfunded. For him to pull a victory here would be incredibly huge for that team.
Remember when Nemechek got the lucky dog back on lap 45? He's now running in second place.
You see, Mike Wallace has damage on the front. They've tried to repair. That tape's trying to stay on there, and he's just driving the wheels off this thing.
We told you earlier about all the records that Nemechek holds here. Most starts, most laps led, most top 5s, most top 10s. Right now, he just wants to win. There are his numbers that he leads in those categories. Looks like we're going to get another lead changes. Here comes Junior and Eric Almirola. Now the 01 and 87 quickly slide back from leading to the 4th pack.
Yeah, and you can get a little bit of a glimpse there. All the damage on the left side of Kyle Busch's number 18 car. I don't know how these cars damaged like this are running this fast.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Keselowski leading this thing with the whole right front corner gone.
Yeah, I thought this was supposed to be an aerodynamic track.
Looked like they'd been at Martinsville for a full day.
That's Morgan Shepherd as they are flying around. Morgan's all alone right there. He is 15 laps down. We've now had our 48th lead change, and we're not done yet, folks.
And you see Carl Edwards and Trevor Bayne creeping their way back into the picture. Up on the high side.
There they come as they have moved their way back.
I just got to stay
Jamie, let's update what's happening down there.
Yeah, in the 60, Carl Edwards saying he's running hot right now. He said, I just need to cool it off. He's like, we're going to be fine, Trevor. Trevor said, we need to get to the front. Now the spotters are jumping in saying, Trevor, we have plenty of time. Relax and let the 60 cool down.
Yeah, that kind of explains what's going on here. You know, they're not really tucked in tight because they want to try to keep the cars cool for the big push at the end. I think you'll see these two cars figure in the finish.
Yeah, and what you want to do there, you don't want to, Trevor's a young guy, and he thinks they need to be there now. You want to be going forward in these last 3 or 4 laps. You get there too soon, you're going to have people coming back by you.
Look at Kyle Busch and Joey Logano. This is unreal that these guys have had all these difficulties, and they are in the mix as we are down to less than 10 laps remaining.
There comes Joe Nemechek and Mike Wallace back into the mix.
They're going to go down low.
Oh,
whoa,
baby.
And again, Wallace gets
He
loose.
is out of control.
And Mike Wallace may be leading again at the stripe as they come through the tri-oval, and it forced Keselowski to bail.
Yeah, that's going to create a little bit of a gap here. They're going to struggle getting back together.
Yeah, I don't think that was a planned swap right there.
Our 49th lead change.
Yeah, look at Carl and Trevor coming up through the middle.
I guess they let it breathe just long enough. They have pulled up to 3rd and 4th. You've got Kyle and Joey down low, and there are the Turner boys with Leffler in the 38, Reed Sorensen in the 32. They go around the slower traffic. Everybody makes it. Here comes Trevor Bayne.
Yeah, this shows the potential of these two cars right now. They're working really tight, doing it like they need to. They're going to be able to make it to the front. It's just that timing thing, Dale. Just like you said, are they going to time it correctly?
Talk about winless streaks. Mike Wallace at 179, Joe Nemechek at 86. These guys have a legitimate shot at winning this race as they are still in the mix with now less than 8 laps to go.
You see Junior and Eric Almirola switching right there.
And again, down low. Remember when Keselowski had to bail? Well, now he's got back underneath Sam Horner Jr., and there they go. They are coming.
Yeah, and this looks like the fastest way for these two cars by what I've seen today. Sam Horner's car is really good out front, but this 22 has a lot of power, can push hard.
Did you see how they closed so fast on those two, the Roush Fenway guys? And he had to go high, and Keselowski, remember, he can't see. Coming down through the tri-oval again. Here comes Almirola and Junior down on the low side. We have got an eclectic mix. You've got Team Penske out there. How about Joe Gibbs Racing, Roush Fenway Racing, Turner Motorsports, and again, the Turner boys making the swap. Reed Sorensen going out in front. Slower. Oh, and Sam Horner just spun it. He has gone around. Damage to the back of that car, and he's just lightly into the wall.
You got to think that was from his teammate there, just pushing a little too hard because it knocked that rear bumper loose.
We've seen that countless times today, about 5 or 6.
Stay below the yellow here. Stay below the yellow.
So
did you make contact with that left rear? We got a little tiny bit of hit around.
It's our 8th caution right now.
Yeah, you can see a lot of damage to the reinforcement to that bumper. Must have got hammered from behind here. Well, it was already coming loose, though. You can see it right here. It won't take but so much of this.
Yeah, the next push was in its fuel cell.
Just wasn't a good surface to push against. And, you know, they needed to get back together, but what do you do?
You can see Brad kind of hesitate for a second, like he wasn't sure it was okay to go up there, but he knew that they had to try to hook back up together, and this is what happened.
Now he knows it wasn't okay.
It wasn't okay.
And it'll hurt him just as much. Dave?
All right, he'll come down here right now. They think they've got to correct, according to the spotter, they've got to correct both ends. Yes, indeed, they do, to square up that bumper. So they'll put on 4 tires. They won't put any fuel in it. What a disappointment for these guys after their own wreck around lap 45, their teammate having damage, and then working together to come back to the front of this pack. So we'll see if maybe, who knows, hey, maybe there's some speed left in Sam's car after this repair, Marty.
Nothing would surprise me today. I mean that sincerely. We have seen things that I don't think any of us thought would happen. And it has been just one spectacular race. 52 lead changes right now between 17 different drivers.
Man, can you believe how wide open this thing's going to be, though, coming to the finish? I mean, no telling who's going to win this thing.
Oh, yeah, all the pushing and shoving we've seen so far is nothing. This also gives Elliott Sadler maybe an opportunity to team up with that 22 car and go to the front.
Well, we'll find out, because we will go back to green flag racing. It's Trevor Bayne up front as we have got about 5 laps to go next time by the stripe.
Big things have been happening at Talladega Superspeedway all afternoon, and now it's time for the big finish, something we have seen many times in the NASCAR Nationwide Series here in recent years.
Always comes down to this. Absolutely.
The last time. 3 times in the last 4 years, the lead has changed hands on the final lap. Tony Stewart, one of the exceptions to that. But check this out, 2009. Yeah. David Reagan with his first Nationwide Series win. Then a year ago, Brad Keselowski pushes to the front as the big wreck happens behind him on the final lap. Dennis Setzer okay in that 92 car despite the scary ride.
Absolutely incredible.
What kind of a big finish are we going to see here today as the field gets the 1-to-go signal? We go racing next time by. You see the last lap pass history here in this Nationwide Series race at Talladega. So think about this. In a day that's been all about pairs and when guys have to make the switch to cool down, we're going to go racing with 3 laps to go and bring in Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie on this conversation as well, right? So nobody's going to have to switch. So really, it's how you pair up and how you fall into line on this restart that's going to set up how you get to the white flag. And then anything's on after that, right?
They're not going to have to switch, Alan, but I promise you, it's going to get crazy coming to the checker.
I mean, it's going to be, Bayne and Edwards, to me, look like the guys to beat. So we'll see what happens with Joey Logano, Kyle Busch. I can't believe Kyle Busch has gotten back into this race the way he has. It's going to be interesting on the last lap.
You mentioned Kyle. Vince is in the 18 pit. Vince?
It is amazing that Kyle's in this position, Jason Ratcliffe. Now what?
Well, now we need to complete at least 4 more of them. Wow, this place, it's just tough. You never know what's going to happen. I think our Z-Line Designs Toyota's been hitting all 4 corners and then some. Hats off to these guys on pit road. They did a nice job. Kyle thought, he said, man, I got hit 6 or 7 times. There's no way this thing's going to be able to go back on the racetrack. And the guys down here did an awesome job of patching all 4 corners, and getting all the sheet metal pulled out. And we're actually up here in the front with an opportunity to win the thing, so it's crazy. But him and Joey hooked up. That's what we wanted to get to all day. We worked with those guys in practice, and we felt good about our cars together. Of course, our car was in much better shape at that point. But I think we got a shot at it. It's going to be fun to watch.
We're about to find out. Alan?
Vince, thanks. There will be 3 laps to go in this race. Remember Michael Waltrip's comments after being taken out of the big wreck about Elliott Sadler and Jamie McMurray manipulating a restart to get back together. Well, now Carl Edwards and Trevor Bayne are side by side. They've been drafting nose to tail this whole race. How will they get back together? What's going to happen behind him? Who's going to enforce his own will on this thing? Here we go for the final 3 laps, Marty.
9th straight race that there will be 3 or fewer green flag laps to end the race. And you're right. Here we go.
Get together here, guys.
Carl and Trevor did it pretty quick.
Yeah,
Kyle and Joey.
Yeah, 01 and 87 got reversed in their order here.
A little too much contact between the Gibbs cars.
That's going to hurt them as they drop about 3-4 positions. And here they go even more.
Yeah, and the 2 and 22 are hooked up. As we mentioned, that may happen.
Down the back stretch. Oh, and contact. Michael Annette's into the wall. Brian Scott's into him as the 32 of Reed Sorensen does manage to get around. And we're going to have a green-white checker.
Yeah, that's why you heard Jason Ratcliffe say at least 4 more laps, because we can have up to 3 of these.
Tough break for both of Rusty Wallace's cars. It also gives us a chance. That last yellow, we're up to 9 now. Timmy Hill, the leader of the Rookie of the Year points, he got the free pass. We can also update you, Kenny Wallace, remember he was running so well for a while there. He actually reported a fire in the cockpit. They are behind the wall right now, listed in 24th position. There you see the damage on the 11 of Brian Scott. And let's go back and see if we can diagnose this one.
I think it's going to come down to just maybe too hard of a bump once again.
Now look Looked like, you know, Brian Scott definitely got into the back of the net.
Yeah. Little contact on Joey's car, but it looks like he's going to be none the worse for wear.
It's, you know, it's the time of the race that you shove a little bit harder trying to get your partner to the front.
Yeah, we couldn't tell by that replay whether Brian Scott was actually getting some help too.
Yeah.
You know, looks like 4 cars together. They could have all been touching, and that's what, you know, that's why that doesn't work. At least a couple of cars are totally out of control there. The front car and the back car have a little control. The middle cars have none.
We talk about how the second guy can't see. Well, the third and fourth guys in line absolutely can't see anything and have any idea what may be happening in front of them.
Well, this is starting to look more like Martinsville, the way these cars are all banged up. The short track racing instead of Superspeedway.
You can't tear one up that bad at Martinsville.
All right, let's get set up on the 7 car. Dale Jr., what are you hearing, Doc?
Well, Marty, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he may own both the 7 and 88 car, but he's very unselfish in what he said to his driver, Eric Almirola, just a moment ago. Listen in.
You just do whatever you think you need to do, man. I mean, if that's something else beside me, you do what you got to do. It's a 2-lap deal. We ain't going to have a whole lot of time to, you know, we can lock up and get the shit done, but we can't fart around doing it. And if it looks like you need to go, go. I'll probably find somebody else to work with, but we'll try to do what we can.
So Dale Jr. basically turning him loose. Now I got to ask you, if you're Eric Almirola, do you leave the Pied Piper of Plate Tracks, Dale Earnhardt Jr., to go with someone else, or do you stick with the man and see where he'll take you?
Well, I think Junior right there is just saying, hey, you do what you got to do because I'm going to do what I got to do.
That's exactly what he was saying.
Scott Wimmer's going to get the free pass on this 9th caution. If you're wondering what the track record is, it's 10. Hopefully we don't have another one. While we've got this brief moment, let's show you our ticket to the race, because obviously next week we're going to head for Nashville, then on to Richmond, Darlington, Dover, Iowa, on down through. We hope to see you at a stop not too off in the future. Gives us another chance to get caught up down on pit road. How about Trevor Bain's crew chief, Jamie? What are you hearing?
Chris Andrews sitting here just shaking his head a little nervous. I see on the board right now they have Trevor 5th and they have Carl 3 spots behind him. What do you say right now?
I say that it's in Trevor and Carl and Joel's hands now. They've got 2 really fast Ford Mustangs. It'll take about 3 laps to make it to the front, and that's what we'll have to go.
All right, we got to just watch and see what happens. Let's go to Dave.
Of course, the Penske body shop hard at work again for Sam Hornish Jr. Chad, how is the fix this time?
I think we're going to be all right. You know, there's just so much beating and banging out there, and you can't afford not to do it. These guys have shown a lot of mettle. We had our teammates come down and help us out with some repair items, and Sam's done a heck of a job. You know, nobody's given up on this number 12 Alliance Truck Parts Challenger, and we're really looking forward to a good finish here. I still think we got what it takes to win.
He got about half a lap of speed at speed. Is it still solid?
Yeah, the bumper's solid. We got one little piece of tape that's flapping in the breeze, but everything's real solid. And hopefully we'll have the right partner in our 22 teammate with Brad Keselowski, and it'll be a good finish for Penske Racing.
All right, thanks, Chad. Let's go to Vince Welch.
We're going to have a green-white checkered finish, and Joe Nemechek is going to lead them to the line. Steve Gray with Joe. Does Joe have enough to win this race?
I think we do. Joe's good here, and he's been communicating. Him and Mike have been working really good together. Right now we're working with hoping that we can work with the 22. We don't know what's going to happen, but when they drop the green, we're going to do everything we can to win this race.
Having to pinch yourself a little bit to be in position here on the final lap?
At the start of the race, we went a lap down because we didn't have anybody to run with. We were 4 seconds off of the leader. We got hooked up with Mike and went to the front. Got our lap back. Everything's good. So hopefully we can win this thing.
Going to be a green-white checkered, Marty, and boy, what an exciting finish it'll be if Joe Nemechek comes across.
Our first green-white checker of 2011. It'll be the 5th in the Nationwide Series here. As you know, you want to flash back a little bit to Joe's wins, the 2 that he had here. There've been some great moments for him. We showed you. How about this one back in April when he was running the Bell South car and that beautiful paint scheme, and there he was from Lakeland, Florida, taking the trophy home. And boy, Mike Wallace's car looks like it's been in a heavyweight fight, and he's got his nose broken. Right behind them, there's Brad Keselowski. He's got damage on his car. Doc?
Well, with crew chief Todd Gordon, and Todd in 2009 in a Cup car, and last year in a Nationwide car, your driver Brad Kay got it done on the final lap. Can he do it today?
Have to see how it all works out here. You know, it's about Paris racing, and just see how it all sorts out. It's pretty wild when we get these things going. I think we got a shot. We'll just see where it goes.
Amazing that a car with that much right front damage and Barabon holding the fender together has a chance to win it at Talladega. Guys?
Well, he is one of the 3 of the 16 Talladega winners that are in the field. Brad, Dale Jr., and Joe Nemechek.
I have a feeling we're going to have some unlikely pairs when this thing gets to green.
Yeah, but the pair that I see that's lined up on the inside road, 5th, Trevor Bayne, 7th, Carl Edwards. They're not going to have to do any manipulating, any moving around. They're hooked up, ready to go as these others try to get in line. So they'll be full speed ahead.
That's what I say. You can't mess around. Just like Junior said, you can't mess around and try to get this thing to work. You only have 2 laps to get it done.
Well, I hope you have not tuned out during any part of this today, because we have had 53 lead changes, a new record, 18 different leaders, and here we go. Nemechek is going to be on the inside. Alongside in second is Mike Wallace, then Brad Keselowski, Elliott Sadler, Trevor Bayne, Justin Allgaier, then Edwards, Hornish, Earnhardt, Almirola. That is your top 10. And the pace car pulls off. And look at this crowd. Not one person is seated right now. Green, white checker, first one of 2011. Who's going to win at Talladega as they come through the tri-oval, picking up speed, green flag flies, and we're racing again at Talladega.
Now Mike Wallace and Joe Nemechek are not together. Got new partners.
Keselowski right behind Nemechek.
I'm Mike Wallace. I like this. I got the pole sitter pushing me.
On board with Trevor Bayne.
Yeah, they're getting blocked up.
Whoa, got another spin, contact. This time, the 30 of Buescher. All 3 Turner cars. Sorensen in the 32. Leffler, who would have come out of here with the points lead. Now, he looks like he's going to be able to keep going, but I don't think Buescher's going too far.
Running out of cars, guys.
So our 10th caution, and we'll have our 2nd attempt at a green white checker. We'll only do it 3. Sorensen making his way around. Leffler looks like all he has is
4 tires.
Flat spotted tires. That'd be one of the big issues. If you've spun a couple of times, you got to be out of good years.
Now NASCAR also have to decide who was in what position when the caution came out right there, because as we saw, the front 2 pairs of cars were virtually side by side.
Yeah, the field will be frozen when that caution flies, and that's the way they'll line up on the restart.
Well, we do know that Mike Wallace will be the race leader as Reed Sorensen has made it back to pit road. Let's go back and take another look.
Yep, just had too much momentum right there and just got into the back of Leffler.
Yeah, Leffler tried to pull up and take advantage of that, of a faster car coming to give him a push, and he got a little more of a push than he bargained for.
Yeah, because you're getting that push from 2 cars, not one. You got 2 cars there.
That's the chance you take anytime you pull up to block. We haven't seen a lot of blocking with this type of drafting, but that's exactly what can happen. That's why we haven't seen a lot of it.
Well, and there's a hard lick right there on the right front corner.
Well, Sam Hornish did a nice job of avoiding that. He's had his share of problems already today, but he missed this one.
Yeah, you see right there, when Leffler tried to move up in front of his teammates, that was just kind of a poor time decision.
Well, we have, as we've gone into a record-tying 10th caution, I'm looking at my watch, and we are past our scheduled time off, and that means NHRA drag racing is going to be coming up next right here on ESPN2 with the 4-wide Nationals qualifying, and their finals are tomorrow on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. Then NASCAR Now, presented by 5-Hour Energy, tomorrow at 9 a.m. on ESPN2. The Tequila Patron American Le Mans Series from Long Beach, that's tomorrow at 5 Eastern on ESPN2. And then our next stop, Nationwide Series, will be at Nashville, Saturday at 2 Eastern on ESPN. We'll be over on the mothership. Free pass is going to go to Blake Cook, so as he gets one of his laps back.
Looks like the body shop's still open down there.
I
guess they stay open past 5.
A little more fuel just in case we have another.
Yeah, that'll be another. Yeah, well, the guys up front, are they going to have enough fuel? Did they get enough fuel in their cars the last time for a green-white check? For this is the 2nd attempt now.
And potentially a 3rd attempt as we swing downstairs to the pit studio. Alan Bestwick, Brad Daugherty. You talked about on NASCAR Countdown a few hours ago that at every Talladega race, you get to the finish and there's one guy you stop and you say, wow, how'd he get that on the day? Someone that just finds a way to get kind of like a career best finish at a Talladega race. Well, today's is going to be the young man driving that car. That's the number 15. That's Timmy Hill. He's an 18-year-old making just his 6th career NASCAR Nationwide Series start. Never raced here at Talladega before. All right, best career start before, 25th. Best finish, 24th. He stayed out of trouble today. Look at that car, how clean it is.
Absolutely clean, yep.
And yeah, you haven't seen him up front, maybe mixing it around, but his whole thing this year is get experience, learn how to race. He's learning how to race at Talladega today, and he might just get a top 10 finish out of it.
Great job. He's kept that race car very clean, like you say, and he's put himself in a good position. He's back there with a couple of really good race cars that might help him move forward, like Leffler and Hornish, give him a little bit of a push, and maybe he can get inside that top 10 before the day's over.
And I don't know what you were doing when you were 18 years old, but I know when I was 18, I wasn't racing at Talladega. So get ready for green-white checker finish number 2. Lots of potential players in the field. What's Kyle Busch thinking?
Well, sometimes it doesn't take the prettiest car in victory lane, it just takes the fastest one, right?
Stay single file to the start finish line.
That 18 car is not terribly pretty as we get set for the second green-white checker.
I'm going to tell you who really has gotten himself back in this mix, and I think may win this race, is Elliott Sadler. He really dropped back about 20 or 15 laps ago, lost the draft, lost his partner in Jamie McMurray. He has worked his way back up to the front, and I think he is the guy that we have to keep an eye on.
Started on the pole, did Elliott Sadler. We will see if he comes back to the checkered flag in the number 1 position in car number 2. So the second attempt at a green-white checker finish. 3 is the max number possible. Look at the field of cars, how few there are at this point. How many of the ones you're looking at up front are all beaten and banged up. And there's going to be a lot more pushing and shoving to get back around to the checkered flag and see who takes home the trophy here at Talladega today. Can it be one of the upset candidates? Mike Wallace, Joe Nemechek, 01, 87, or one of the favorites like Sadler or Brad Keselowski, last year's winner?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I think we're going to see that third green-white checker.
I was going to say, we'll find out potentially in 3 more laps, but perhaps in another 7 or 8, Marty, DJ, and Andy.
Well, Alan, this is the first time in series history that we've gone this far. Every other one has only been a single attempt at the green-white. This will be a first time at a double attempt. And my question for you guys is, we got some other guys out there that could run out of fuel?
Well, potentially there is that possibility. They last pitted on lap 85. They'll have to go about 39 to 40 laps just if they go to this green-white checker. If it goes longer than that, I think there might be a couple of them that could have trouble.
And let's update you. James Busch, we can tell you, has been checked out and released from the infield care center, so that is good news as we get ready to go. I'm looking at those tires. That doesn't match up color-wise. That looks more like maybe Sam Hornish.
Yeah, he may have got those from Sam Hornish's team. I don't know why Sam would give. I don't know why he'd give away some of his tires.
I'm not sure.
There might be some of his used ones from practice.
Well, you can only use
knowing
so
Johnny
many.
Davis, that's probably the truth.
You can only use so many sets. Lights are out on the pace car. Let's reset it for you. There's Johnny up on the box. As it'll be Mike Wallace with Joe Nemechek second, Elliott Sadler third, Brad Keselowski, Trevor Bayne, Kyle Busch. Your top 6, then Edwards, Logano, Allgaier, and Almirola. Listen to the crowd. They have been loving this. As soon as we get done here, we'll be sending you the NHRA qualifying from Charlotte. Green flag flies. Hang on.
Wow, look at the push Joe Nemechek gets from Keselowski.
Yeah, he was up on it right there. Elliott Sadler was back a little bit from Mike Wallace. That's going to hurt their efforts. Right in the middle of that mix. Look at the 16 and the 60. Bayne and Edwards.
Still like you, Dale, I think that the momentum at the very end is what it's going to be. The cars up front may not be the ones to beat here.
No, they're sitting ducks out there, I believe. Right now, Joe Nemechek's in the catbird seat.
Got a 3-car tandem now.
Almirola is tucked in behind, you're right, the 60.
Yeah, he took Junior's advice and took off where he could go. But he's going to be a sitting duck here in a second.
He is hung out right now. In fact, here come the 2 Gibbs cars. They go on the high side to get around Almirola. He is stranded. Coming towards this white flag. This race is official. We will finish it on this next lap, no matter what happens. Look out, it's gonna get tight.
Well, that got those separated. The 60 and 16 separated.
And that may be all the others needed, because look at how far back they have dropped. Down the back stretch, it is the 18 of Kyle Busch. He has never won here in 7 prior starts. Look out! The spin, Mike Wallace, and he's up and over. Wallace gets back on all fours. The 38 of Leffler is also involved. The race is going to end under caution. And we'll have to wait for NASCAR to give us the official as to which car was the leader.
Mike Wallace able to drive this car well.
Yeah, baby! I'm thinking Kyle Busch is going to be the winner of this race.
Here's why you never give up.
The scoring has
the
Trevor
18,
Bayne, but they switched it over to Kyle Busch.
The 18 thinks he's won. He's giving Joey a little nudge.
Yeah, he probably knows.
Rock, man. You absolutely rock, Jake.
Well, that sounds like Trevor Bayne's radio, doesn't it? That was 18's radio, okay. That was Kyle Busch's radio. We are waiting for NASCAR to give us a freeze the field report. And they will figure out exactly who was in the position at the time the caution was thrown.
Kyle pretty confident.
Well, this has been his worst track. We talked about the fact 3 of those 7 prior races, he didn't even make it to the finish. Okay, we still don't know the exact time the caution came out, but here's the replay.
See a lot of people with run. You can see Mike Wallace having a big run here, getting a push from Elliott Sadler. That's where it's all going to start, as he tried to make a move.
Boy, and then he gets airborne.
The caution does not come out right away here. It goes just a little bit longer before it does come out.
Yeah, the 18 was in front at that moment.
Carl Edwards gets spun in that altercation.
Still waiting for official word. Here's another angle.
It's a lot of push and shove. You know, Mike Wallace's car really was out of control the whole race.
And we've just got the official word. Kyle Busch is your winner. So he is now won in all 3 series here at Talladega.
Somehow. I don't know how.
All right, here's your top 5. Is Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Joe Nemechek is 3rd, Brad Keselowski, and Elliott Sadler. That is your official top 5 from NASCAR. Dave Burns is caught up with a very disappointed Johnny Davis.
Well, and Marty, he was able to climb down with just a bit of a smile there. Johnny, you were close until the end there.
Yeah, it was a good race. Mike sure made this race team look good. We got to thank James Finch. That was his race car. You know, it was a good race. Brad done a heck of a job in the pits. Mike done a wonderful job driving. Jason Jarrett was a heck of a spotter. Joe Nemechek kept us going all day long. I mean, we couldn't have done it without Joe. Joe pushed us there, and it was just good, man. I don't know. It's close but no cigar, you know, but that's why we work 18 hours a day and 7 days a week at my shop with about 8 people, you know. So it's very rewarding to come here and do this with this group of cars and this people here. And, you know, there's a lot of people here. We struggle paying our bills, man. There's a lot of people here trying to help us out of the Cup garage, out of the Nationwide garage. And like I say, I just couldn't thank James Finch enough for what all he's done for us. I guess we'll have to pay him for a race car now, but, you know, we had a good day, and I'm sure he's smiling for us, too. Him, Nick, and all those boys over at their shop. So.
They showed him they were here today, guys, for sure, Vince Welch.
With the 18 team and crew chief Jason Ratcliffe, the first time Kyle Busch has won a nationwide restrictor plate race for Joe Gibbs Racing, and it happens in the most unlikely of scenarios. How in the world did you guys win this race today?
Well, I tell you what, we won it by having good teammates. We had a good pit crew on pit road that took a car that had a lot of damage, and it's ugly, or it was ugly about 30 laps ago. Right now it's looking pretty. But, you know, praise the Lord for good teammates, for sure. Joey Logano, Adam Stevens, all the guys on the 20 car. Could not have done it without them. They were committed, you know, here about 15 laps ago. Joey said, all right, I'm committed, man. I'm going to push you all the way to the end if that's what it takes. So this win is, this is their win as much as ours. We couldn't have done it without them. Kyle did an awesome job today. Both spotters, Eddie DeHunt and Mark Robertson, did a great job today for both cars. And this crew, man, I just can't say enough, about them coming in, fixing this car, and never giving up. You just never give up, and you get results like this. But like I said, praise the Lord for great teammates and an awesome day today.
They won a lot of races, but I haven't seen many celebrations like this one down here today, Doc.
And look at the damage on Joey Logano's Toyota Camry. Now, this is the windshield, folks. It was the air going underneath the windshield. This is the A-post, and it's peeled open, and you can actually look inside and see the driver people still sitting in the car. This car's been open like a giant can opener, and yet somehow, Joey, this car ran and pushed your teammate to victory. How'd that happen?
I just had Kyle, yeah, I mean, our car was okay. They were second, but yeah, I wish we could have got to the checkered flag, and maybe we could have done something with Kyle there. I was committed to pushing him, and we were gonna get all the way to the front one way or the other, and then battle it off to the checkered flag. It's a bummer the caution came out there at the end. All I know is I saw a car go upside down, so in the mirror. But the GameStop car was good. Guys did a good job. Man, it looks like we're at Martinsville more than Talladega. We're beating the heck out of these poor cars. I got hit in the door. My A-post falling apart. Bumpers are falling off every car. It's just, it's crazy out there. But yeah, we got a good finish out of it. I'd rather be in victory lane. I think this is probably his third or fourth time I think I've pushed people to the win. I just got to be on the other side someday.
Yeah, Marty, third year in a row he has pushed the eventual winner to the checkered flag here at Talladega.
All right, Doc, let's take another wild ride and go on board with Trevor Bayne. And on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Differences, similarities between today's cars and tomorrow's cars. Was there something you liked about it today? Well, I think a couple cars will probably be.
And Vince is caught up with the man who finished in third place. A great run for Joe Nemechek.
Well, that's right, and he was just watching that replay of Mike Wallace. You guys had quite a tandem. What did it feel like to be running up front at Talladega again?
Well, I tell you what, for a small team being the underdog, what a day. I lost a lap early in the race, got hooked up with Mike Wallace, and man, we went right to the front. I got to thank Toyota for helping us out. I got to thank Extends, one race deal. We have more races coming with Kevin Conway. Got to thank Nationwide Insurance for keeping this going, and the fans for being here. But man, what a day. I mean, we just have a small crew, just a small team trying to do what we can do week by week. And we gave them a run for their money today. I wish it would have finished under green. I got to say hello to Andrea and the kids back at home, but if it would have finished that lap, I don't know if we would have got them over here in the tri-oval, but we had the run coming back when the caution come out. Just came close, but what an improvement for our team.
Joe Nemechek and Mike Wallace gave him a lot to cheer about today, Marty.
All right, thanks, Vince. Final thoughts?
Well, just a wreck fest, but it turned out to be a real team effort at the end with Kyle Busch and Joey Logano working together.
Yeah, different racing than we've seen at Talladega in the past with these two-car tandems, but as you can tell, great racing right to the very end.
A record 11 cautions, a record 57 lead changes. And let's talk to the man who had the last lead change on the last lap for the fourth time in 5 races. Jamie?
And Kyle Busch went through a little bit of everything today. Started mid-pack, got spun, lost his drafting partner. After the big one that Kyle got caught up in, he brought it down pit road. This crew went to work on all 4 corners of this race car. Kyle, I believe you even said after you wrecked, you said, guys, let's take it to the garage. How did this happen? How did you get back to victory lane?
I don't know. It's look at the thing. I mean, I got hit like 3 times on the left side. I thought it was killed, but I said it was killed. But these guys did a great job putting it back together with great leadership from Jason Ratcliffe. And the Z-Line Designs Camry doesn't look the best, but it was certainly the best right there at the end, especially with the guy who was pushing me. Joey was a great teammate today. Can't thank everybody from the whole JGR organization, the guys with GameStop. Thank those guys. They deserve to win just as much as we do right here. This is a team win, and it's cool to get it here. And finally, I won a nationwide race here, so now I completed the sweep at Talladega. But again, NOS Energy Drink Toyota, this Camry was pretty fast today in the draft and getting pushed with another Camry, so it worked good there. And Gillette, Nationwide Insurance, Marquee Jets, thank the fans. It's cool to run a Nationwide Series. Love doing it, love winning too.
All right, Kyle Busch wins his first nationwide race at Talladega.
Indeed, something big happened today at Talladega.
It sure did. Tell you what a race.
Big action, big lead changes, big surprise, big finish. Had it all today. And quite the ending to today's race. NASCAR will be rechecking the final scoring for a little while, but we do know for sure that Kyle Busch has won the race after Mike Wallace got turned upside down on the last lap. Kyle leading when the caution was put on and the field was frozen. Next week, off to Nashville for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Next Saturday, 2 Eastern ESPN. Off to Charlotte for some NHRA 4-wide drag racing. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.